sessions spoke at my college one, and I
Yeah.
don't think we had one at my high school one. Like, I think didn't our class president and also the what's it called when you have the highest grade
Valedictorian?
point average? Yeah, those were the two people that spoke at our high
Yeah.
school graduation.
What about you, Tyler?
Yeah.
I don't remember the high school commencement speech, other than I felt like there were other students that it could be directed to. You know what I mean? Like, the people that are sitting with all the like chords and everything, like, you don't need to be talking to them. Talk to the people that you can actually help out.
Oh.
But I don't remember my college commencement speech because I did not go to my graduation.
Why is that?
I was sitting in this chair right here.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That was before my time
By
here.
choice, or somebody was on vacation and we convinced you to miss your graduation?
Rockstar was on a West Coast tour, and I needed to run the board.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you think we can go back and get you to walk at Auburn, like in the upcoming commencement? Do you think they would do that if we pulled some strings? Would you want to do that?
I mean, they might allow it, but I don't want to do it.
Okay. If it's not something you're missing in life, we won't go to the trouble.
We could do our
I don't
own.
feel like I'm missing out on anything.
Hey, if Brown gets his honorary degree, we could do a dual graduation ceremony.
Oh, there we go.
That's right.
Doesn't he need a Spanish credit?
Yeah, I think we were trying to talk to whoever the president of the university is to just kind of let that slide, but I don't know what the update is on that.
Oh, I can tutor him. I took Spanish 3.
Oh.
Oh, that's content right there. Just
That
you tutoring
is.
Brown in Spanish. Yeah, do that one. That gets Taylor fired up. She just perked up in Atlanta right now.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, that is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right, mortgageright.com. They can help you out with all your mortgage needs. Taylor's got coverage all day long of Auburn. I know it's been a pretty heavy Alabama show. Well, to this afternoon, we turned the page to Auburn because they'll be practicing at State Farm Arena. They'll be meeting the media. Taylor will be there in the locker room, and she'll pump out all that sound throughout the day leading up to the tip tonight of the Alabama-BYU game. And in that tip situation of Alabama-BYU, I'll have post-game reaction from the locker room, and the basketball show will go live after I get out of the locker room. So it won't be immediately after the game tonight. It'll be after a short trip of me in the locker room grabbing some sound, and then we'll be able to kick some stuff out to you and do a live post game where we can get reaction to Alabama and BYU. That is happening tonight. The first game of the night, it's at 6:09 on CBS. One note to finish on here: Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston. All the 1 seeds are still left. Only once has the Final Four comprised entirely of number 1 seeds.
When was that?
That was in 2008.
Okay.
And the tournament expanded and started putting the seeds together in 1985. And we've only had one tournament where all 4 1 seeds made it to the Final Four, and that was in 2008. So we'll see if we can stay chalky up until then. Maybe some upsets tonight. You do have 2 number 1 seeds playing tonight: Florida versus Maryland and Duke versus Arizona. And we'll see how it all plays out. By the way, if you're wondering about who has the most NBA talent,
let the next round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The next round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the next round.
As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Heartbreak for Arkansas, all the madness of March, the start of baseball. We'll get you ready for more March Madness tonight, including Auburn back in the court finally again. Taylor Corn will join us from Atlanta the next segment. But as you see here on the screen, I'm still in Jersey, day number 11 or 12 away from home. And maybe you saw me on national TV last night praying throughout the evening behind Nate Oates. It worked. Mick Gillespie will talk more about that in a second. Emily Grace McWhorter back in here as well. Guys, good morning to you in the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning, Dunaway. We did see you on national TV last night. I was looking for you, and you're hard to miss back there. But it's been a good morning. We have Mick Gillespie in the studio, so I'm not by myself here in Birmingham. Mick, how are you?
I'm feeling great. Besides watching Jim, I just kept watching all the threes rain in from Mark Sears. Finally, baby, let's go.
Yeah, that was amazing to see. I don't know how many people know who Dick Weiss is. I think that's his name. He's like a longtime basketball writer who's probably covered every NCAA tournament since the 80s. He was sitting next to me, and he's older than I am. He's been doing this forever as one of the premier writers in the country. And he was right beside me, and he kept in the second half. He was like, "This is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it." And the guy's seen like every college basketball game ever. I think he's Mr. College Basketball. And he was physically reacting to those threes that got him to the NCAA tournament record 21 and then 22 and 23 and 24 and 25. Mick, I'll start with you on this one. And we'll hear from the locker room, Mark Sears and Nate Oates and everybody about this. But Mark Sears there's no two ways around it. He was in a shooting slump, and he broke out of it last night.
Yeah, I mean, we were concerned, watching those games down the stretch and the way they struggled against Robert Morris. And then, you're wondering, are we ever going to see the old Mark Sears back again? And then, and I mean, like, we got Superman Sears in that game. So I'm glad to see him kind of find his confidence and his stroke. It looked a lot like last season's tournament. And I think if Alabama realistically wants to win a national championship, he's going to have to kind of play some more of those games. I mean, you take on teams like Duke and who knows who else. But it was great.
Yeah. E.G., let's don't say the four-letter word yet. Duke. Let's enjoy a little bit last night.
Yeah.
Those numbers. I mean, we're sitting there, and when they had 12 early in the game, 12 threes early in the game, I looked over at Aaron Jordan from the Alabama Sports Information Department. He was a couple of seats down from me, and I was like, "Hey, what's the school record for NCAA tournament threes?" Because I never thought about setting the NCAA record. I mean, this isn't Loyola Marymount, for God's sake. I was like, "What's the school record?" And he is like 16 versus Clemson last year to get Alabama to the Final Four. And I was like, "Well, 16's doable. Already have 12 here with 7 minutes to go in the first half." Yeah. And then when they got 18, I looked over at Aaron and I said, "Hey, Aaron, what's the NCAA tournament record?" He's like 21. Wow. And they blew past that. It was unbelievable to watch, wasn't it, E.G.?
No, it was. And I think yesterday, Dunaway, we were talking about how you may be able to witness some record-breaking basketball, and you did. I'm sure the environment was incredible for you there. But Mark Sears needed to have a game like this. And I think something that Coach Oates has been talking about when it comes to the numbers is how, he said in his post-game press conference that sometimes you can deviate from the mean. And so we were talking a lot yesterday about how Mark Sears was due almost in baseball terms. When you look at the numbers he was, and he knew that 14% shooting wasn't going to last. And last night it appeared, and that's a game that Mark Sears has to have. You want Alabama peaking right now. This is the perfect time to do so. And Mick, like you said, this is very reminiscent of what we saw last season around this time of year.
Yeah, it really was. It's so much of it's confidence. He's kind of switched positions around a little bit, and he's been in the 2 spot, but he can shoot. And then it was just like, why aren't these going in? And then all of a sudden, you could just feel that momentum switching. And I honestly, it's hard for me to believe, Jim. I mean, you've been covering these guys as long as I have. I mean, did you ever think there would be a day that Alabama would be this good at basketball?
No, I mean, seriously, I was riding back with the radio guys, Chris Stewart and Brian Passing. They've done play-by-play in color now for 22 years
Wow.
of basketball in Tuscaloosa, and they're still young guys, and but 22 years of watching basketball, and the Elite Eight was the ceiling. It was Sweet 16 with Wimp Sanderson, never passed that, and then it was the Elite Eight one time with Mark Gottfried in 2002, I think it was. And you never thought about, God, one day if they could just go to the Final Four one time. Here's the praying hands again. I got to stop doing this. But just one time, go to the Final Four. Well, they went last year. That, of course, included going to the Elite Eight. And now you're sitting here that you're in the Elite Eight again.
Yeah.
In back-to-back years, you play
Mm-hmm.
you play basketball for 100 years, and you only go to the Elite Eight one time. And now here you are in back-to-back years. It's a testament to Nate Oates. Let's hear some of the sound from the locker room, and I'll get reaction to you guys because EG, I want to go first with what you were talking about, but our coverage of all the NCAA tournament on the road here in Jersey and Atlanta, brought to you by our friends at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious. Those burger patties. That burger is never frozen, hand pattied. I like mine with 2 patties on it. You can get 3 if you want to. The bun's buttered. That butter burger is so good. All the fixings you want on there, the wonderful sides, including cheese curds that you can get, the custards are to die for. There are 2 great Culver's locations near us on Tattersall, just off 280, Highway 150, just off I-459 by the Hoover Met. Those are the 2 we go to mostly. But when you're on the road traveling, you'll see Culver's all over the place. So stop in and enjoy the delicious folks at Culver's there. Tyler, let's go cut number 4 first. Aden Holloway and Chris Youngblood, cut number 4 here, because this is what you were talking about, EG, because Nate Oates he's this mathematician. He's a former high school math teacher, and they've got Bamalytics. They crunch these numbers all the time. They got a staff of 5 dudes that have computers and glasses like me, and they're pushing the glasses up. They're doing calculators in the middle of the games, and they're running it out there. And Nate has convinced his guys that if you shoot at this percentage, and you're shooting down here at this point, eventually you're going to hit your norm, and you're going to get back to that percentage. And that sort of is what happened last night. Here's Aden Holloway, who had a big game as well, and see why Chris Youngblood after the contest.
What went into that tonight? Was 77% of your field goal attempts were coming from 3?
I would say just for these 2 guys next to me, an open 3 is kind of a layup. So we're happy with 77% of our shots coming from 3 today. So,
like Coach said to start off, the way they play defense, they're in the gaps heavy, and then if we have proper spacing, and if we don't take one dribble too much, or we're playing selfish, ready to move the ball, we're capable of having 80%, 77% percentage of our shots being 3s. So it's pretty simple.
EG, I know you saw this. I know you saw this stat last night. Alabama, you could take away all their 2-point shots, and they would have still won the game last night just with 3s and free throws. Amazing.
It's amazing. And when you put it in that verbiage, it really shows how impressive they were from 3. And it was contagious. It was infectious, and it was so much fun to watch. We knew it was going to be an offensive heavy game. And I do have a question for you guys. So something that's been posed on X over the last, 12 hours or so has been, the overwhelming reaction to this game is it was so fun to watch. It was so enjoyable. You have 2 offensive heavy teams basically duking it out pound for pound. And the question was, well, why do we have such a disdain for the NBA? Because this is what it kind of looks like over there every night. And I thought it was actually an interesting question because there are some, similarities you can draw. For me, I feel like it's the effort that's put in. I think that the effort that you saw from both BYU and Alabama basically, makes the NBA kind of pale in comparison. But it was an interesting thought to kind of process as you saw such heavy 3-pointing, absolutely contagious from Alabama.
That's a good question.
It's a great question, Mick. I would say it's the same thing, the same reason why I enjoy college football more than I do the NFL. Yeah. It's as much the energy, the excitement of the players, but also the fans and everything that goes with that. So give me the college football game better than the NFL, and the college basketball game light years better than the NBA. I want you to answer that first, Mick, and then I'm going to play cut number 1 for you because I want you to talk about Nate Oates. But go ahead and answer that one first.
Well, I'm thinking the same thing you just said. Basically, the pageantry and the connection that you have, and the energy, and it's not about the money. I mean, I don't think so anyway. It looked like this tournament. I mean, I say that, and then you're hearing rumors of coaches having to convince their players not to transfer during the tournament. So I don't even know anymore. Yeah. But I agree. I love college basketball, and I don't ever watch the NBA. So.
Yeah, me either. So back to the Alabama win last night over BYU that gets them to the Elite Eight, and they've got to play the four-letter word Duke. We'll talk more about that matchup as the show rolls on here, and we'll go to Taylor Corn in Atlanta to set the stage tonight, Auburn and Michigan. Before we get to cut number one and Nate Oates, I want to tell you about our friends at NASCAR. Actually, I don't. My new NASCAR buddy, Emily Grace McWhorter, is, because she went to Talladega for the first time last year and had a blast.
We did, and I'm excited for it to come back. You need to go check out this 2.5-mile beast of a track. Get your tickets. The track is open April 25th through the 27th. Go to TalladagaSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets today. You do not want to miss anything Talladega, and you have about a month to do so. So get out there and see our friends at Talladega.com, and we will hopefully see you out there.
Let's talk about the greatness that is Nate Oates right now, because here's a guy that has built a powerhouse basketball program in Tuscaloosa, and he's done it at a very short period of time. He does it recruiting wise, but he gets painted sometimes as a just shoot three kind of guy, just a system guy, almost like the old run and shoot guys in college, or Air Coryell or whatever back in the NFL days. He's not a system guy. This guy's a hell of a basketball coach. Both on the defensive side and the offensive side and the recruiting side. He talked about the game plan to beat BYU last night. Here's Alabama head coach Nate Oates after another Sweet 16 win that gets his program back to the Elite Eight.
I mean, that was a fun game. If you like offense, that was it's fun for the fans, I'm sure, at least for the Alabama fans. And listen, I got to teach these guys some math occasionally. I told Sears there's a thing called regression to the mean. His last 6 games, he was shooting 14%, 5 of 35. He's not a 14% shooter, obviously. They had been going under ball screens on just about every game we watched. I told both those guys, Holloway and Sears, man, I hope they go under us, because we're going to rain them.
Yeah, I hope they go under us. We're going to rain them. And Mick, it's an old saying from the 70s and 80s, but it was raining threes last night.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers, it really is incredible to sit there and think in a tournament game to get Alabama back to the Elite Eight again. They were 25 of 51 from three. I mean, and it was Sears, and it was Holloway, and it was Youngblood, and it's like you turn around and then it's Phylon's hitting them. I mean, it was like in baseball when they say hitting's contagious, yep. Right? But I'm just, every time I see Nate Oates, I'm just floored at where this thing is right now. I mean, I know we talked about it before, but I love the guy so much, and to think that here they are staring at another opportunity to get to the Final Four, and he's kind of got this system that he runs with with these threes and attacking the basket. You look at the numbers. I mean, it's crazy. 25 threes. I mean, yeah, it's like a whole season for a Mark Godfrey team.
Oh yeah, Anthony. Don't even bring up Anthony Grant there. 25 threes is the record. It was 21, so they shattered that NCAA tournament mark. And it's just a historic night for Alabama. They beat BYU. They get Duke now. And I want to do one more soundbite here before we move on to what else we saw last night in the bigger picture of what's ahead for Alabama in the next step. But I don't want to just brush past what we saw last night from Mark Sears. And if you can give me cut number 6, it's Mo Diabate. And I went to Mo, and we all sort of were asking Mo several things, but it wasn't a Mo Diabate kind of night last night. This one wasn't a physical, like the St. Mary's game had Mo written all over it. Mo's he'll get in there. He's from Queens, New York. He'll get in there and wrestle with you and fight with you and get down and brawl with you to win a basketball game. This was Alabama raining the threes, so it wasn't really Mo Diabate's night. But Mo is one of the leaders on this team, and I asked him, and several other reporters asked him about trusting Mark Sears, that even though Mark, the captain, was in a slump, did you still have faith that he could still do what he did last night and hitting all those threes, 10 plus threes, and setting the NCAA record? Here's Diabate talking about Mark Sears.
I have the most trust in Mark. I see Mark work every day. Like he's one of the hardest workers on our team. Last year it was a lot of games where we need him to show up, and he showed up, and especially in March. So I have the utmost confidence for Mark. So he's a hard worker, and the hard work is always going to show.
Hard worker, Mick. He's a guy that puts the work in there, and he makes it happen. You first, and then EG, just on Mark Sears' legacy and what this guy leaves behind if it ends on Saturday, if it ends at the Final Four, if it ends with a national championship. I know at any other step will only entrench him with Alabama fans. But as we sit here right here on a Friday morning, what is Mark Sears to Alabama's program in your eyes, both of you?
Yeah, look, this is a great Cover Crimson conversation piece too, because it's something that we would definitely talk about. I think he's honestly, I think he's the greatest Alabama basketball player ever. And I'm not talking about guys going to the NBA and and what they've done there. I mean, coming to Alabama, helping lead the Crimson Tide to the biggest wins they've ever had. He would have been that had he not come back this year, and it hasn't been as easy, and it sometimes it's not, right? Because you're getting so much more attention now than you did in the past, right? Because everyone knows he's a star. I mean, he's on the second AP All-American, first-team All-American in program history. I mean, he's getting all that credit. But nights like last night are what big-time players do. They show up in the biggest games. He's obviously done that. There's still some more games yet to come, but just having been around as long as I have and covered basketball, and they've always been kind of a middle-of-the-road team. Now they're like elite, at their top, and he's the best player. Think about this season, too. I mean, there was a time when he got benched.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's been, the struggles have been there, but you do it all for the opportunity to have these games, and in the Tide's biggest games, he's been the best, and that goes all the way back through the history of Alabama basketball. I mean, all the way back to C.M. Newton and Wimp and Gottfried, and and then now this Nate Oates era. I don't know who you could compare and say they're better than Mark Sears when it comes to playing basketball at Alabama and playing their best in the biggest games.
Yeah, well, I think what Mark Sears has done for Alabama, he's given it his all. That's very clear. And you have games like this that really cement him as a legacy player at Alabama. People are not going to forget his performance last night for a very, very long time. And I think that comes on the back end of a lot of adversity that Mark Sears has faced. He did come back, and there was a lot of discussion about how his draft stock, it can't improve. So why did he come back? What is his future like in the NBA? And as you said, Mick, when you have a player that shines the brightest, when the lights are the brightest, that is someone that you can rely on. And I mentioned it before, you want these players peaking if you are an Alabama fan right now. And Mark Sears, I think, he was at such a deficit with shooting all of this tournament. And I do want to point out, too, guys, that he was able to contribute in a lot of different ways, not at the basket, specifically with those assists, too. So I think we have to highlight him for those reasons as well. But last night, it kind of was all wrapped together in a bow for him in a game that a lot of people remember for a very long time because of the effort he put forth, because of who he is in an Alabama uniform. And last night, it was proof that this kid is the real deal.
Okay, let's hear from Mark. Cut number 3, if you will, Tyler. Mark and Chris Youngblood talking about the breakout, because as you mentioned earlier, and I'd asked the guys about it going into the Robert Morris game, after the Robert Morris game, going into the St. Mary's game, after the St. Mary's game, they were winning, but they were not shooting the ball well. They were having to earn it at the basket. So here's Mark and CY about just finally the breakout night of shooting the deep 3 ball. Here's the guys.
even though when I was shooting 14%, my confidence was still high. You know, I never stopped doubting myself and stopped believing in myself. And my teammates also, they kept encouraging me to keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And you know, that's just show trust in them that even though when I'm not at my highest peak, they still trust me and want me to shoot the ball. So, you know, it's a big shout out to them. And, you know, just, they went under the ball screen and I was able to get my rhythm early.
To be honest with you, before y'all talking about 14%, I had no idea who was shooting 14% because I never really paid attention to it. You know, Mark's an incredible player, so all I know is when he gets the ball, the defense is collapsing on him, so it don't even feel like he's shooting 14%, but regardless if he is or not, his gravity that he has on defense is, you know, something I never played with before, so yeah, you don't really realize he's shooting 14%.
Well, EG, can you believe that? The CY is like, you know, I never even knew he was shooting only 14% because you almost hear it in his voice like, I trust him so much.
Exactly.
It never even dawned on me he was slumping.
But I think that's a reflection of how Coach Oates and his staff approach things like this. And it's very analytical based. I think that gives those players a lot of confidence because even if they are shooting 14%, the coaching staff is saying, and players, keep shooting. Those numbers will eventually balance themselves, and they did last night. I don't think we also have talked enough about Chris Youngblood and his impact to so far this tournament, but specifically last night, there's been a lot of discussion about kind of the, you know, grittiness that he brings to the team, and last night was evidence of that, and just how he has been a spark plug for this team as well.
Yeah, look, I've loved watching him. I mean, him, and it's crazy when you get into these tournaments, guys that are kind of quiet all of a sudden come out. I mean, we saw this last year with Alabama as well, you know, and some of the guys that transferred out. But, yeah, I thought he played well. And, honestly, I loved when Grant Nelson dunked, you know, like brought everybody into this thing. It really feels like this team has waited all year for this because they didn't talk about winning the SEC tournament. They didn't talk about winning the SEC. They talked about winning the national championship. And you can kind of feel this after the Robert Morris game, like, okay, yeah, this is what we're here for. And they've got so much momentum right now. They put together two really, really good games back to back. But it's like you said, it's like the Youngbloods, you know, the guys that come in and a three here, you know, a rebound there. I still think they got to do a little bit better on the rebounding side of the ball, but the effort to me was I thought was fantastic the last two games, and I really hope it would be great to win a national championship. You know, some guy from Tuscaloosa on the team. You know.
Yeah, it's right. He's back home. CY is Chris Youngblood. All right, that's Alabama's locker room last night after the massive win over BYU, where they set the NCAA tournament record for three-point shots made in a tournament game. And we've had the three-point line since the mid-'80s when you had folks like Wham and George Michael and Aerosmith and all of them singing songs. And I had hair and I was in college. That's when we came up with the three-point line and the NCAA tournament record. We've had a lot of people break it along the way. Then Loyola Marymount sets it. And then Alabama blows it out of the water last night. We'll see how long that record stands. But Mark Sears and them, they've survived and advanced. So did a couple of other teams last night. Still to come in this segment, we'll talk about last night's games. And then we'll hear from Bruce Pearl on what Auburn's doing. And then Taylor Corn joins me from Atlanta coming up. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at ImageCraft. Arkansas almost did a little bit, EG, to make people want to throw away their old bracket and print a new one last night with our friends at ImageCraft.
They did. ImageCraft wants you to print more and spend less, specializing in low-cost printer and copier supplies. ImageCraft carries all of those major brands that you know and love. ImageCraft offers free same-day delivery on all in-stock items for the Birmingham metro area and free shipping outside of the area. So we want you guys to mention the Next Round in-store on Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and save 10%. Now, if you don't want to go in store, you can also go online and use code TNR10 at imagecraft.net and save 10% there. ImageCraft, print more and spend less.
And of course, our friends at Hemphill, nobody hotter than Alabama shooting threes last night. You don't want to be that hot if your air conditioning's not working. It's good for Bama to be hot, not good for you to be hot. So make sure you get that air conditioning checked this time of year with our friends at Hemphill. If it's not running right, flowing right, or draining right, Hemphill will take care of you. Hemphill Services, the name Birmingham's trusted since the 1950s. Go check them out at the number on your screen, or you can check them out online. Hemphill Services, the name we trust right there. Last night, man, the SEC was looking good. Florida won. They cruised on. Alex Condon hurt a little bit. I was, caught up with Alabama and the Alabama postgame. Either one of you see how injured? Is there any word on Condon? How is that going to impact him in the Elite Eight and moving forward for the Florida Gators? Either one of you seen an update on
I
him?
have not seen an update, but I can look at that right now. Let's see.
Yeah, I know he hurt his ankle again, Mick, and he's such a big part of what they do. But when you look at Florida, you start with just their depth and Walter Clayton Jr., who is maybe playing good enough to be the tournament MVP when it's all said and done.
Yeah, the Terps, that's my other team. So I was hoping maybe they could pull an upset. And that game looked a little bit like Alabama. Maryland kind of hung with them in the first half, and then Florida pulled away. Florida, to me, is I think they're the odds-on favorite to win. And for someone to beat them, they're going to have to play a very technically sound game. And they do such a great job of, not just of shooting, but their rebounding. It's almost like they've got like magnets on their hands with this basketball. I can't believe, to be honest with you, how much better they got throughout the course of the season too. It's not like they were a team anybody was talking about at the beginning, but that's why you play the games, to see what you can do as a team. So, I watched them systematically dissect my two favorite teams 3 times this year. So, last night was one of them.
Alabama and now Maryland, right?
Yeah,
Twice with Alabama and now Maryland.
Yep.
So, E.G., any update on Condon there? Probably not.
No update. No. Mm-mm.
And then that's two SEC teams to the Elite Eight. We almost had a third. Arkansas got outscored 16-3 down the stretch by Tech, and then it goes to overtime, and Tech eliminates Arkansas. That was so close for John Calipari having it's a great run to get to the Sweet 16 because that team was bad, EG, but they should have won that game last night.
It was just so painful. I feel for Arkansas fans. I feel like they just get their heart ripped out and stomped on across so many different facets. I mean, it was painful. It was painful to watch. I think that for a lot of that game, they were the better team, and to see it end like that is just it's heartbreaking.
Well, it kind of reminds me of being an Alabama fan before Nate Oates, because this is something that would have happened to us in basketball in the Sweet 16. I mean, no lead was ever safe. You just, it was like this just bad luck, some bad breaks. I thought that, that Calipari had a good season, and really, I was shocked that they turned it around. Remember, they couldn't win a game in the conference at the beginning of the year, but it was a good coaching job by them. But man, that was a terrible way to end the season. And those are the type of losses that just stick with you for a long time. And then the way that these rosters are constructed, and with NIL and transfer portal, I mean, you don't even know how many of these guys will be back to play in the future. But for them to even make the Sweet 16 and to have a lead like that was impressive. But they had them, and they let them off the hook.
So Texas Tech and Florida advance out in San Francisco. Duke and Alabama do it up here in Jersey. They'll play on Saturday with a right to go to the Final Four in each of those games. We'll put 4 more teams into the Elite Eight tonight. That includes Auburn battling Michigan, 8:39 on CBS. Tyler, if you'll give me cut number 9, Taylor Korn over in Atlanta having a chance to talk to the players in the locker room, and then Bruce Pearl on the main podium there talking about the goals now. That is out of the first 2 rounds, back to the second weekend for the first time since Auburn went to the Final Four. And BP was talking, Bruce Pearl, about the goal now and the feeling around that Auburn locker room as they get ready to try probably to run through 2 Michigan schools to get back to the Final Four. Here's the Auburn head coach.
Michigan is as good as anybody in this field. They are. And I told our guys, I felt like Creighton could be in this group very easily. They'd made 4 out of the last 5 Sweet 16s. And I told our guys, if we can beat Creighton, when we get to Atlanta, there's not going to be anything there that's going to be beyond overwhelm us, right? Or even maybe the Final Four. We're good enough to beat Creighton if we're good enough to beat Michigan. And of course, the survive and advance thing, I think that's really true the first and second round for 1 seed. It is about survive and advance for the top seeds. You get to this point, we feel like we're playing for a national championship now, and we have 4 times we're going to have to do it. That's how we feel. I'm just telling you how I feel. You don't feel like you're playing for the national championship in the first and second round.
Yeah, so you're surviving the first and second round. Now you're playing for a national championship. E.g., we sort of talked about this.
Yeah.
You win tonight, like Alabama, such a big high moment right now. They're only halfway there to a national championship. Only halfway there. Auburn's trying to get to that tonight. It's national championship conversation time for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, the perspective shifts once you realize where these teams are at and the mental fortitude that it takes, too, to keep your players, your coaching staff, even, as a head coach, with a level head, because you still have so much work to be done. And at this point, all of the talent is incredibly elite. I'm not saying round of 64 and 32 it isn't there, but this is kind of when the rubber meets the road, and it's intimidating. It can be daunting because, for Alabama, you're looking at Duke. We haven't really mentioned them at all this segment, Dunaway, but that's who they're preparing for. And Auburn is looking at Michigan. And I'm really excited for this matchup. I think that there's a few advantages that Auburn has over Michigan, but overall, I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game to watch to see how Auburn comes out and how Michigan responds.
Yeah, and Michigan's had some big wins. They won the tournament on a buzzer beater, right? And then they played Wisconsin, and then kind of slowed it down. And, you go from scoring 81 to 59 in a win. So I'm not really sure. Like, they've been so Jekyll and Hyde down the stretch, what Michigan team will see. But the one thing I can tell you about Auburn is if you beat them, you really have to play a great game. Mm-hmm. And I like Bruce Pearl so much. Like, Jake Coker and I talk a lot about how much we like him on an Alabama show, which is pretty crazy. But we do. I mean, like, we kind of feel like he makes basketball fun. He actually says stuff in his press conferences, which a lot of coaches don't. We have 2 that actually do it in our state. And for Michigan to beat Auburn, they're going to have to really play a technically good game. And I think it's going to be a tough task for them. I think this is a good. I think this is a good matchup for Auburn. I really do.
We'll bring Taylor Korn in, who spent some time with the Auburn team yesterday at their shoot-around at State Farm Arena. She'll join us from Atlanta coming up in the next segment. Our show today being brought to you and all the madness going on by our friends at Bojangles. If you're ordering Bojangle Bites right now, it's the easiest choice you'll make during madness. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget right now. The only hard part actually is going to be choosing the 6 dipping sauces, one for every craving, from the creamy house-made ranch to the sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, the shareable, and the craveable Bo Bites. It's Bo time. It's Taylor Korn time from Atlanta when we come back on the next round.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made for quality legal services to be performed as greater than those of other lawyers.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Start with the most exciting game on hardwood. Add the best ballers in the country, a season-culminating tourney, the smell of popcorn in the air, and hundreds of your closest friends absolutely losing it along with you. That's Fandom U. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA Division I Women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8, March 28th through the 31st in Birmingham. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/WBB tickets. Class dismissed.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with MyBookie.ag. Sign up right now with code NEXTROUND and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, we roll on segment number 2 today on the next round. Taylor Corn joins me now from Atlanta, Georgia, side of that Sweet 16 game tonight with Auburn as they play Michigan. We'll talk about that in just a second. Of course, mybookie.ag, where Auburn continues to be a pretty significant favorite tonight over Michigan. You can jump in and play all the March Madness games right now and get a sign-up bonus of 50% of your deposit up to $1,000 plus the $10 casino chip when using the code next round. That's the code next round right there at mybookie.ag. Taylor Corn, it is game day for the Auburn Tigers. Seems like forever since you guys played. Man, Alabama, it felt like they played. They flew and then they played again. Seems like it's been forever since I've seen Auburn win an NCAA tournament game.
I know. It's always crazy because the first weekend is hectic. It's kind of a little bit chaotic because it seems like there are 50 games going on at once. And then you get this long break. But I'm sure it's good for the rest of the guys like Chad Baker-Mazara, who I think had some sort of bruise or something after hitting the floor. Bruce said it's basically bone to hardwood floor whenever that guy falls. So I'm sure it's been good for the rest, kind of refreshing the mind of the players. They got to go home for a couple days, which I'm sure they enjoyed. But yeah, we've got about 12 hours until they tip off.
Yeah, not even an early tip. So we'll get into Auburn tonight, 8:39 on Maine CBS with the main crew. Auburn being the number 1 overall seed, they have drawn the crew that will actually broadcast the Final Four and the national championship games. So big stage tonight for Auburn. So let's talk about this game a little bit. First of all, you were at the shoot-around yesterday. So you're there with them, and just the mood of this team, because there was a little bit of question about their swagger coming out of the SEC tournament, but then they looked a lot more like themselves through the first two wins in Lexington. And I was just wondering, mood of the team as you were around them when they were shooting around at State Farm Arena, and then you were in the locker room with them afterwards.
I feel like this team is one that never takes anything too seriously. They're goofy, and they don't seem like an elite level basketball team personality wise until they step on the court. They joke around with each other. They're always goofing off. Janai and Tahad were messing with each other the entire time we were in the locker room doing interviews. Something funny. We didn't see a ton of practice. We got to watch 15 minutes, and it was really just them, warming up. But Janai he went right to the free throw line. He went right to the free throw line. And it wasn't an organized of free throw shooting. Everyone was getting shots up, just kind of messing around. And Janai shoots his first free throw. He makes it, and he yells. He basically makes an announcement, and he says, "Guys, I hit a free throw." and then someone rebounds the ball for him, hands it back. He hits another one. He made two in a row, and he was elated. He gets the ball back. He makes a third in the row.
Oh, no.
It is, oh my God, I know. And Tahad goes, "Dude, save it for tomorrow." He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Save this for tomorrow, Janai. Save it for tomorrow."
Oh, that's fantastic.
I know.
It's just building and building in practice there, one free throw after another. All right, the opponent now is Michigan, the Wolverines tonight. And I got one stat for you. And
Okay.
and then I want to talk to you about how can Auburn have success in Michigan. But first I want to let this wash over you if you haven't heard it, but I'm sure you have. But really for our viewers and listeners. Michigan, and this is the quote from the Field of 68, who we respect a lot, the Field of 68 guys. Michigan is one of the quote unquote luckiest teams in college basketball. They, in 4 games decided by 4 points or less, so virtually close one possession games this year, they've played 17 of those, and they are 13-4 in games decided by 4 points or less. So very close games. This team, if the ball had just bounced the other way one other time, could have had a disastrous season. They've played 17 games that have virtually been one possession games decided in the final 60 seconds of the contest. That's a mind-boggling number of games, especially if you look at Duke, who plays no close games. 13-4, and the Field of 68 calls them one of the luckiest teams in college basketball. Just react to that massive number first, and then we'll talk about how Auburn can attack Michigan.
I feel like that's got to be some sort of record for number of one possession games.
Cardiac kids. Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine the fan base. My dad's probably about had a heart attack watching those. I think that there is some value to be had from that. And there were a number of games where Auburn was in the same boat. Not that many, but I think there were 6 or 7 games that were decided by one possession. And when we would talk after those, I always said, I think that there is some value in winning a tight game. Is it ideal? No. But I think having experience when you're feeling the pressure, when the game is coming down to the wire, I think that's going to be beneficial. Maybe they are one of the luckiest teams in the country. I feel like there's a statistic on, I don't know which one of these analytical websites, but I know that I've seen it somewhere. There's a luck percentage. I cannot remember where. I'll try and find it later on, but I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing in terms of they're probably staying composed in these games that are, tied or the leads changing frequently down the stretch because they've done it so many times. It probably just feels like a normal basketball game to them, but that is crazy. And it's crazy that they walked away with that many wins. And I feel like Tre Donaldson has been the one hitting the last second shot in a number of those.
The former Auburn Tiger, who we'll talk about coming up as we move throughout the day, getting ready for Auburn's big game against Michigan tonight in the Sweet 16 over at State Farm Arena. The show being brought to you by our wonderful friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Guys trying to stay on top of your health, don't forget Urology Centers of Alabama can help you out right there. Everything from prostate health to kidney stones, everything in between as well, including vasectomies, whatever is going on in your life. Early detection always so key. That's why there's 16 locations of Urology Centers of Alabama. Find the one near you. Go to urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com, and hang out with those folks for a little bit and stay on top of your health as you move from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s and so on. urologycentersalabama.com. And also getting ready for the big basketball weekend coming up there in Birmingham. Our friends at Night Edie putting on another great event as the madness is there right now in the Magic City, going on today, tomorrow, and Sunday and Monday. And you can get all the great action happening right now by going to get tickets at ncaa.com/WBB tickets. That's ncaa.com/WBB tickets. We're sending a couple of teams to the Final Four right out of Birmingham. There's some SEC teams including Powerhouse South Carolina. If you've never seen them in person, you'll want to go check them out. So go get those tickets right now through the weekend. ncaa.com/WBB tickets, ncaa.com/WBB tickets, or you can buy them at the door right there at Legacy Arena. You can go watch them practice today and play on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. It should be a lot of fun right there this weekend. All right, Taylor. So when we tip this thing off at 8:39 tonight on CBS, how can Auburn have success against Michigan? Give me a couple of things. Let's break the first one down. How can Auburn have success?
I think they're guards. We talked on Monday, or no, not Monday. I don't know what day it is. I don't know the last time that we talked. But we talked about the fact that when Auburn's guards have accounted for the majority of their points, that's when they're having success in the NCAA tournament. We saw Tahad, we saw Denver, we saw Chad have a extremely productive offensive game versus Creighton, especially in the second half. I think they scored 39 of Auburn's 47 second half points. Those numbers might be a little off, but the majority of them. And I think that that's going to be important because how much success is Auburn going to be able to have around the rim? You know, Janai and Dylan and Chaney, they have their hands full with Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden. So I think if Auburn's guards can continue to have success in this tournament, Tahad needs to have a big night. Denver needs to have a big night. Miles needs to have a big night. And we know they're capable of doing it. We've seen them do it a number of times. But can they carry over what we saw in the Creighton game, especially the second half of the Creighton game? Because Chad was back. That was one of the games where he went on a little cold streak scoring-wise. And he started to look like himself again offensively. Something else that I think Auburn needs to take advantage of is the fact that Michigan is averaging 14 turnovers a game. So if they can catch Michigan's defense in transition, if they can score off those turnovers, take advantage of those extra offensive possessions, I think that's going to be very valuable because Auburn's a team that does not typically turn the ball over a ton.
Yeah, and that's what Michigan's known for is their defense, but Auburn's really good. That's how you get to 30 wins in a 30-5 season with the Auburn Tigers. Another thing, when you talk about those guards, the old saying in this tournament is it's a guards tournament. And you just watched it play out, whether it was the Alabama win we talked about last night, or in the first segment, their win last night up here in Newark, New Jersey, or you watch what Cooper Flagg is able to do. He's sort of a guy who can play a 5, a 4, a 3, or a 2, but to me, really, he moves the floor really well. Got to see him in person last night as well. So to me, it is about the ability to create shots and play on the perimeter. And nobody has been better than that at times this year than Tahad Pettiford. In fact, he's getting such great NBA buzz now because of his ability to create his own shot. That's one of the first things the NBA folks look at is how can you create your own shot? And I saw one scout who compared him to James Harden, and that's high praise. The beard James Harden on the ability to just be quick and create your own shot. Just talk about how you've seen Todd Pettiford grow this year in his true freshman year from when we saw him in those very first games in November down at Neville, then at the Maui Classic, to what he has become for this team here at the end of the year.
It's insane to me that he's coming off the bench because think about the number of teams that he could start for, and just throughout the country, not even just in the SEC, because the majority of these SEC teams are elite. But he's been so impressive to me, and something that we've talked about walking out of locker rooms is his maturity to begin with. He's very mature for a freshman, in my opinion. And I think that he's improved a lot defensively. The beginning of the season, I think that was the concern with him. That was where he needed to grow, and I think that he has. Sometimes the fouls are a little iffy, and I think that Bruce gets frustrated with that. I think Todd gets frustrated with himself with some of those stupid fouls that you'll see sometimes. But he's improved a lot defensively, and something that Bruce talked about yesterday during his press conference when he was asked about Todd was, what he basically was asked what you just asked me, and he said, when I brought him in to be a scorer, and his ability to play point guard has been super, super impressive to Bruce, his ability to run the offense. And he just doesn't seem like a freshman to me. And he's so confident. He's so confident. He never seems to get rattled. He never seems to get discouraged if his shots aren't falling. You never see, and tell me if you disagree with this, but you never see a missed shot impact the next play when he's on the court.
No. I think the lowest I've ever seen him down was at the SEC basketball tournament, where I don't think he made a 3-point shot, and he seemed to be a little down and out, and almost apologized on social media to the Auburn fans. It was a hard interview to walk up and then ask him about the game, and I know you and I talked about it. I was like, listen, this game really doesn't mean anything. I don't really want to talk about this game. Let's talk about moving forward. And I framed the question is, you had a night like this, how do you bounce back? And I was sort of framing it for what I thought I would see in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, especially at Creighton game. But that's about as down as I've seen him be. And I was so happy to see him bounce back from that and have good games and be what he was in the second half against Creighton.
And the interview that you're talking about, that's when I was so impressed with his maturity, because like you said, you were trying to ask about the future. Let's not dwell on what just happened, but how can the future be brighter? There's a light at the end of the tunnel somewhere. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, I didn't show up for my team tonight. He said, I need to get back in the gym. I need to figure out what's going on. I need to start making shots, and I need to figure out how I can help my team win, because I didn't do that tonight. I didn't show up tonight. And I believe we were the first ones to talk to him, because he was sitting right by the door when we walked in. And just being able to be that I guess upfront about what just happened. I mean, there's no hiding behind it. It's a nationally televised game, but I was so impressed with the way he went about reacting to it, talking about it. I mean, he faced it head on. And he was asked about his confidence yesterday because of what you were just talking about. He was coming off not his best shooting games, and he just said, having the guys in this locker room, they're always encouraging me. I know they believe in me, and he said that I know BP, I know Bruce Pearl believes in me, and that's all I need. If they continue to believe in me, I'm going to believe in myself.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that was my first time to actually talk to him face to face, and just so impressed with his maturity level at such a young age, and so are the NBA scouts as well. Okay, a couple of more things here about the games we'll see in Atlanta tonight, part of the Sweet 16. Remember, Auburn plays the second game. The first game is Ole Miss and Michigan State, and I'll get a thought on that before you get out of here for this segment. Taylor will be back later in the show as well to talk more Auburn basketball with us. Show being brought to you by New York Butcher Shop. I'm just down the street from all the great New York butcher shops in the world, all the Cat's Delis and everything. And New York Butcher right there in Cahaba Heights, and also on Highway 119, has brought a little bit of New York right there to our area in central Alabama. And having now eaten in a New York deli, I can tell you the New York Butcher Shop has the same quality, the same stack of meat, the same unbelievable food. You get all that right there at a great price. Jim and the crew does a great job of giving you those deli sandwiches for lunch or dinner, but also the great cuts of meat and wine and everything. It's our great friends at New York Butcher Shop, those 2 locations. Go and check them out for the weekend that has started already up here in New York. And of course, there in Atlanta where Taylor Corn is. One more on the game tonight, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about Michigan State and Ole Miss also happening at your venue. And that venue is something I want to talk about because you were there yesterday. You talked about Janai hitting free throws. This Auburn team has had great success in that building. Bruce Pearl has as a program. But earlier this year, they had a great win against Ohio State in that building. Bruce loves to play over there. Such a hotbed of Auburn fans over there. Tell me about the home court advantage of the Auburn Nation that you see moving around in Atlanta, the fans that will be there, and then the fact that in that building, do the players realize that there's a comfort zone of them being back in there? I know you talked to the players about that yesterday.
Yeah, Chad Baker Mazzara, both after the Creighton game and yesterday when we were able to talk to the players, he's very excited to see how many Auburn fans show up, and I'm sure the rest of the team is too. But both times that I've talked to Chad yet prior to this game, since they knew they were advancing, he just says, "I expect it to be all orange in there." Which for some reason Auburn's telling everyone to wear navy, which I think is very confusing because Michigan is navy as well. But I don't. That's besides the fact. So I think they're very excited for that, and I was asking about, does this give you a little extra confidence? Does this make you feel any more comfortable knowing that you've had success in this building this season? And then for the guys that are veterans that are returning, some of them have played a number of games because it seems like Auburn plays one game a year in here in State Farm Arena. And there was yes and no about the confidence. Tahad said yes. Tahad said yes, it definitely helps knowing that we've come in here and we've won. The common denominator in all of their answers were, I think we had a pretty good shooting night when we were here.
Yeah.
And that's what Tahad said. So he said, hopefully that can carry over into our game Friday night, and then hopefully that can carry over into a game on Sunday. When I asked Chad, he said yes and no. He said yes because it's, we've won in here before. Yes, because it's close to home. Auburn fans travel well. It's not a far drive from Auburn, and there are a lot of Auburn fans that live in Atlanta. And he said no because he said, it's all a hardwood court. It's all a hardwood floor. And that where we're playing doesn't change the ability of who we're playing, basically. So he said it does help from, a depth perception standpoint of having taken so many shots in there over the past couple of seasons and, just a couple months ago. But he said, we can't be letting a venue, an arena determine our confidence level. He said, we need to walk into every single game with the same level of confidence because we know what we're capable of. But he said, I guess when it comes to the technicality of it, having put up shots in here before, shoot around yesterday is definitely going to help because they have a feel for hitting shots in that arena.
Yeah, it's I will tell you last night, when the game started between Alabama and BYU. BYU had a ton of fans there. Alabama had a nice representation. BYU had more fans, but there were about 70%, 65% empty seats in the building when the Alabama game started. And as the first half progressed, they started to fill up, and they continued to fill up. And one thing I noticed very quickly, Duke blue and BYU blue was exactly the same color. And those Duke fans kept pouring in and pouring in. And by, halftime, start of the second half, the place was packed. And it was because of the Duke fans that showed up. And I will tell you, they were early on when BYU would cut it close before it became a blowout. They were cheering for BYU there, and it was loud. It made a difference. So Michigan State travels well. but I know Auburn will be there. The witness is on the road. And don't kid yourself. I know, quote unquote, they're neutral sites, but Auburn has earned the right to play as the number one overall seed just an hour and a half, an hour from their campus. And in a big hotbed of their alumni in Atlanta, they've earned the right to have that home court advantage, and they'll take advantage of it tonight against Michigan. One other game, the early game at that venue, is Michigan State and Ole Miss, another SEC team. With Arkansas's loss, we got 6 of those left now, and we'll see who can survive and advance to the Elite Eight. But we've seen this Ole Miss Ole Miss team a lot. I mean, I saw them beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I think you and I have seen them play Auburn twice, and then you saw them another. So we've seen them play Auburn 3 times now, and Alabama once. This Ole Miss team has its limitations, but they also can be very dangerous. Do you think Ole Miss has a shot against Tom Izzo and Michigan State tonight?
I don't know. I'm in such a weird space with this game because I was talking to people yesterday and I was saying I keep trying to convince myself that there's going to be a game that that everyone's expecting it to go one way and it's an upset. The Sweet 16 games, all of them are incredible games. There's no real Cinderella. I know we talked about this on Wednesday. There's no real Cinderella. I guess Arkansas was the stand-in, but this is one of those games where I could see it going over either way because Ole Miss is rolling right now. I think in my opinion it's going to come down to Sean Padula, Malik Dia, Sean Padula, because we've seen them play Auburn 15 times now, it seems like, and Auburn's done a good job of shutting him down. He hasn't gone scoreless, but they've controlled Ole Miss offensively. Michigan State's defense is ranked 4th in the country, so I think this Ole Miss offense is gonna have a task at hand, and their 3-point defense is ranked 1st in the country. Michigan State's is. So will Auburn's guards be able to hit their or not Auburn? Good Lord, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Ole Miss's guards be able to hit their 3-point shots because that's what we've seen. I mean, I think it was was it a buzzer beater in Nashville?
Yeah.
Sean Padula. And he's shown that he can make those big time shots. So I think the matchup to watch is going to be the Ole Miss offense, the Michigan State defense, and I think that will be where the game's decided.
All right, Taylor will be back with us in about an hour to talk more on Auburn leading up to the showdown with Michigan tonight after that Ole Miss-Michigan State game, doubleheader night in hot Atlanta for the Auburn Tigers. The show being brought to you by our friends at NASCAR, the biggest and baddest track in NASCAR. Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the track before, like Taylor until last year, you get a chance to check it out. She loved it. We all loved it. Took EG out there. Even she loved it. The beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway, April the 25th through the 27th. Get your tickets right now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. EG and Mick rejoin me to talk more about the NCAA tournament. We sneak in a little Alabama and Auburn football as well coming up on the other side. This is the next round.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with mybookie.ag. Sign up right now, code NEXTROUND, and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Super Speedway, and it's ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the Talladega Super Speedway, you have to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every single turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Don't miss the action. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new Chicken and Bowberry Waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a Bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try Chicken and Bowberry Waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Start with the most exciting game on hardwood. Add the best ballers in the country, a season-culminating tourney, the smell of popcorn in the air, and hundreds of your closest friends absolutely losing it along with you. That's Fandom U. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA Division I Women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8, March 28th through the 31st in Birmingham. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/WBB tickets. Class dismissed.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Of our show today, we've gone 30 minutes on Alabama to start the show. We've gone a little bit on Auburn here, and we're going to do some other things in just a second to talk a little college football. We're going to get the baseball opening today, and then we'll get back to the basketball in just a second. That's Mick Gillespie from Cover Crimson and Emily Grace McWhorter, who does everything for us up here at the Next Round. You just saw Taylor in Atlanta. I am up here in Jersey. It's a shoot-around practice day, prep day for Duke for Alabama. I'll be back at the arena this afternoon. Don't forget our post-game coverage after the game tonight for Auburn and Michigan. LT and Brownie are off. They're back with you on Monday. Before we do the spotlight, give me a first impression thought you guys have on the games tonight. Ole Miss, Michigan State, 6:09 CBS. Then Kentucky, Tennessee, 6:39 on TBS. And then Auburn, Michigan, 8:39 back on CBS. And then Purdue, Houston, 9:09 on TBS. I've got 4 downs that I'll ask some questions later on, but other than the Auburn game, is there a game, Mick, that jumps out for you tonight that you're interested in?
It's all my Ole Miss friends. They just keep on sending me hottie toddies. I know they're all fired up about the guy with the headband, Padilla. So I'm looking forward to that one. You know, I pull for all the SEC teams when the tournaments come and bowl season, and so I'm looking forward to that game. I think that's a winnable game for them against Michigan State.
What about you, EG?
Yeah, well, I was going to say the Ole Miss game as well. I told our friends on SEC Network, Peter Burns and Chris Doring, back in February, that Ole Miss was actually one of my tournament teams to watch. So I am, still on that train for sure, but also looking at the Kentucky-Tennessee game. SEC on SEC, I love that matchup. I think a lot of people are saying about Kentucky, it's hard to beat a team like Tennessee 3 times, and I would agree with that in a lot of ways. So those are the 2 games I'll be watching, specifically that Ole Miss game, to see if my tournament prediction from February can remain true. And then, of course, the SEC on SEC matchup with Tennessee and Kentucky. I do think Tennessee does have the edge in that game, but we'll have to see tonight.
Yeah, it does feel like the one game without SEC teams in it. Purdue and Houston is sort of the yawner of the evening, and it's the one to rock us to sleep at 9:09 on TBS tonight. So back to basketball in the second, but let's talk a little football here. Tyler, if you've got the Shannara spotlight open here, EG's going to tell us about Shannara, and I want to pose a football question. Hit it, man.
The College Football Spotlight.
Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys, a national firm with Southern roots, headquartered here in Birmingham, Alabama. In 24 years, guys, the firm has grown to over 150 lawyers, supported by over 500 dedicated team members. Their elite trial lawyers have recovered over $2 billion, you heard that correctly, $2 billion by maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. Alexander's mission was to create a firm that could handle any issue his community faced. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case.
All right, here's my spotlight question today. EG, I'll start with you, okay, and then Mick. Greg Sankey was up here last night. He will be in Atlanta tonight, but he was up here supporting the SEC team, Alabama. He's been bouncing around to all these tournament sites the first 2 weekends. He'll be in Birmingham for the SEC teams in the women's tournament as well, coming up this weekend. But to Atlanta tonight, and with 7 teams still alive in the Sweet 16 when it started, Arkansas is home now, so 6 still alive, fighting for the 8. The max we can get in is 5 of the 8 because, as you said, Kentucky and Tennessee play. The record number of teams that made the tournament. Are we at the point where we can say SEC basketball is equal to the power of SEC football? Has it passed it? Is this our best sport here and now, right now, in the Southeastern Conference? EG, you first.
That's an interesting question, Dunaway. I think the line of demarcation has to be battle-tested and time spent at the top. And I think that football, in the last couple of years, there has been some discussion about, some fall off within the SEC as these super conferences have formed and talent is more spread out. But with basketball, this has been not only an elite tournament for the SEC, but an elite regular season with the games that the SEC has put out and just the level of domination. Really, I don't think we're to that point yet. I do think that football still reigns supreme. Now, we could be changing our tune this time in a year, but I want to see a little more time for SEC basketball to claim that dominance.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, look, it's been a great year. It really has, and I mean, this might be one of the greatest conferences ever. Yeah. Right? We'll see what happens. I mean, if you look at the Final Four, and it's like got 3 SEC teams, and then 14 that got in. I was kind of worried that it'd be like a, SEC basketball of the past. All these teams get in, and then it's like Kentucky's the only team left, and then like a random, like a rando, like maybe like Arkansas or somebody else. You know what I'm talking about, Jim? But they are legitimately the best teams, and I would be surprised if the SEC doesn't end up with a national champion in basketball. This was a down year in football.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Down year in football. The Michigans and Ohio States, and watch for Penn State and Notre Dame. They're going to be spending as much money as they can on the rosters to try to win again because the SEC's been so dominant, and they really made an impact this year on that. But I think it's just 1 year. My gut feeling is that SEC football will kind of be back in its prominence next year. But then the other part of it, too, is as I look at the conference's depth in football is as good as I can remember. It's just that, when you play in the Big Ten, you have so many cupcakes in there that, you can get healthy. I mean, when Vanderbilt is as good as they are now. And
exactly.
You got a lot of good teams. You get beat up week after week. So I think that SEC football still has a long way to go before basketball catches up to it.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the fans' passion. It'll always be football. I'm just saying, there's a time we've said to ourselves that maybe the SEC is the best baseball conference, and maybe it's better than football.
Yeah.
And you can make a case, though Alabama seems to be down a bit this year, that softball has always been really good. Women's basketball is good. It's just a great athletic conference, and you see the commissioner walking around. He's almost walking like. What is it? Is it Jim McMahon? It's Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
Vince McMahon when he's walking, and you almost see him walking in with that big stride when he's walking the arena right now. He's the king of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, he owns it right now. He owns it absolutely. So that's our spotlight today, brought to you by Alexander Shinar. A little football conversation. Yesterday, of course, we talked about Alabama's big recruit there at cornerback, and we'll get back to football as spring continues on. Once this Sweet 16 Elite 8 part of our calendar is done. So Monday we'll get back to some more football conversation, but much to the smiles of Brian Passink, who used to kill me all the time back in our Jocks day, that we talk too much football, not enough basketball during basketball season. Basketball has earned its place for sure. But before we get back to basketball, yesterday was opening day in baseball, and I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan, so our opening day is today, outdoors, first home outdoor game in the history of the franchise, and we're playing at a minor league stadium. We're playing the Rockies. It's the last two teams to play. The Braves started yesterday. EG.
Yikes.
Mick, are you a Braves guy too, or are you a Reds guy?
I'm a Cubs guy, Jim.
Cubs guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk Cubs first. What do you think of what the Cubs are going to do this year?
Well,
how'd you like opening day?
Yeah, and a shameless plug for my YouTube channel, the Cubs baseball channel. But
of course,
they lost the 2 games in Japan to Ohtani and the Dodgers, right? And then last night got back in the win column with a guy who is actually not a big Alabama fan, Justin Steele, pitching for the Cubs. He's out of South Mississippi, and then Miguel Amaya with some offense. But I don't know what's going to happen. The front office for the Cubs is, in the last year of their contract, it was like Theo Epstein's assistant. Now he's in charge, Jed Hoyer. So the thing to watch for the Cubs is they traded away the third baseman from the Florida State team last year that they drafted in the first round in a deal to get Kyle Tucker, who's a really good player, but on a 1-year deal. They also traded a guy, Isaac Paredes was in that deal too, and the Cubs had just traded for him from the Rays, and then Hayden Wesneski, and all those guys made the roster, even the guy that was in college last year. So, and they think he might hit 60 home runs. So the Cubs have to win, or the front office is going to be out. So I'm curious to see how that goes, and I don't look at the roster and think these guys are going to contend for a World Series.
But the Braves, on the other hand, what do you think of opening day for the Atlanta Braves?
Well, it started off really strong. Chris Sale did not have his best stuff, but it shows just who he is as a player, that even without his best stuff, he still commanded the zone. And then it felt like the Braves didn't have an offseason. And we picked up quite literally right where we left off with the Padres in that final series of last year. 7th inning comes, and I think if you're a Braves fan, you're pretty disappointed, because all off season long the discussion has been, will Alex Anthopoulos spend money, and will he bolster specifically that bullpen? Starting pitching really isn't an issue. It was completely solid last season. There was no complaints there at all. And it was the bullpen and then the lack of offensive power that would leave guys stranded, that couldn't really contend with that. And yesterday was it was a mirror image of what we saw. After Dylan Lee, there's really no one that you can rely on in the bullpen. And it just makes you think, what was the harm in spending a little money to try and bolster that bullpen, to have guys past Dylan Lee that you trust? We also had to go to Grant Holmes, which, when you look at the Dodgers series coming up, he was supposed to start. So it's like, okay, what's going on there? And it's really disappointing, but there's a lot of games left to play. If you're Scott Forrester, you're really happy right now, because the White Sox, they are 1-0, beating the Angels handedly. Forrester, how are you feeling?
Yeah, so we're already, about a 40th of the way to last year's win total. That's big.
It is
Big.
huge. Congratulations, Forrester. We're really
Thank
happy
you.
for you.
Thank you.
I love the video of Will Venables in the. I don't know if you guys saw it. I know Will from when he worked with the Cubs, and he's the manager. And I always told him, I think that I'd say I love saying your name. I'm no Jim. You did play-by-play. You know what I'm talking about. There's just certain names that you like. Venables, right? He's the White Sox manager.
Right.
They got his first win. They put him in a grocery cart and then rolled him through the locker room, and he was basically just thrown a bunch of liquids thrown on him. So congratulations.
Mental note: when talking to two baseball geeks, do not write 1 minute for a quick question about baseball.
Gentlemen,
with
you
a
knew.
Did you send that to us?
with 161 games left to play, that breakdown
This was the worst duo to put us on a time crunch when it comes to baseball. I mean,
baseball, 60 seconds. Get quickly back to Alabama and Auburn in Sweet 16 and Elite 8. All right, my mistake, baseball guys. I asked the question. Got to live with it. Great sponsors like Woodhouse can let you chill. You can March Madness and chill at our friends at Woodhouse. Tell us about that. It's one of your favorite places to go,
It
EG.
is one of my favorite places, Woodhouse Spa. You cannot go wrong this time of year. It's spring. It's rebirth. Get a massage, get a facial, treat your wife, your girlfriend, or yourself. Eyebrow waxing, massages, facials, they really have it all. It's a great environment. It's located at the Summit in Birmingham, Alabama. Again, those gift cards are huge. Treat your wife, treat your girlfriend, treat yourself at Woodhouse Day Spa.
Okay, we'll do the viewing menu in a second, but I've got to ask the question that everyone's asking. So here it goes.
Okay.
Can Alabama beat Duke? Can Alabama beat Duke? Start us off, Mick. Can Alabama beat Duke?
We were looking at the matchup on one of the TVs in here, and I'm still in awe that Alabama is on the same plane as Duke. I mean, just because of the history of Duke basketball and what Krzyzewski built and watching so many great Duke championship teams over the years. Plus, they get all the calls, so get ready for that as well. But look, you guys know I'm a Maryland guy too, so I've seen them in action before. If Mark Sears can shoot like he did last game, and Alabama plays a smart, fundamental game, and I know I've said that a lot today, but I mean that's what it comes down to right now: rebounding, somebody making some shots. They can beat Duke, but if they're going to beat Duke, it's going to have to be one of their best performances. I mean, this is a Duke team that beat Auburn. Same thing, and the same respect I have for Auburn. To beat them, you have to do everything right. I think it's going to be a really tall task for Alabama, but if you want to win the national championship, you're going to have to beat them anyway.
Yeah.
So beat them.
I think it's not a subject of if they can. I think that Alabama does have the talent to do so. I think that we saw that last night, that when Alabama is firing all cylinders and they are checking those boxes, they virtually look unbeatable. And again, if you can match the shooting performance from Mark Sears last night, and again, how they were able to distribute the ball and even the passing, and there were certain things that were just working fundamentally that at times we've seen Alabama kind of stray from, and it's caused a lot of turnovers. Now, the question will be if they can, but will they? Will they be able to put together a performance like that on Saturday against a Duke team that from top to bottom is absolutely stacked with talent? They're fundamentally sound, and they are just a very well-coached, disciplined team. So I am not envisioning we will see such high scoring as we did last night against BYU, but I think, again, it's going to be an Alabama team that has to rely on their offensive superpowers while also having a game that is defensively sound. They cannot have any sort of drop off there. And this was a game last night that Coach Oates actually was pretty happy with that defensive performance. Now, can they match that for 2 games? That's the big question for me.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Duke did score 100 in their game last night. Alabama scored 113. Duke did put a hundy on Arizona, so they can score as well. So let's do cut number 2. Here's Nate Oates talking exactly what you were just mentioning there, EG. Defense. I got to see this Duke team in person last night. I stayed for that game at the arena. 4 legit projected NBA first-round draft picks on that starting lineup, 4 of them, not just Cooper Flagg. They've got other depth there, and Nate Oates knows that they're and first of all, Alabama's defense was really good against BYU, which was, since February, the second highest scoring team other than Alabama in college basketball, and they held them to 88. And some of their missed shots was because of Alabama's defense. Nate Oates says that defense has to get better against Duke.
Told these guys going in, if you'll move the ball, we end up with 27 assists. I'm not sure where that ranks in tournament history, but if you'll move the ball, our offense is designed to beat a defense like this. So they're heavy in the gaps, they overhelp, and we did. So now they're a really good offensive team too. Everybody questioned whether we had defense to win. For some reason, nobody was talking about our offense though. Like, I've gotten to know Mike D'Antoni a little bit. He made the point, like, your offense only has to be, one point in the efficiency better than your defense to win the game.
Yeah, but the reason why we don't talk as much about the offense, Nate, is because you all the time talk about the defense. Last night, my seat was right behind the bench, and the entire game was screaming about the defense, defense. And I thought to myself, they're raining threes in. I would be like the most passive coach all. I'd be like, good job, guys. I'm trying hard on defense. Keep shooting the threes. I mentioned to Taylor last time on the postgame show, I'm the worst parent because I was like, you're such a good kid. Don't worry about making that bed. Don't worry about it. That's the way I felt like Nate should have been like, good try on defense, guys. Keep shooting those threes. Can't do that against this Duke team. I watched them. Here's the stat line if you missed it for Cooper Flagg, guys. And I want you to react to what you think Alabama fans will see in Cooper Flagg. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 blocks. The guy does it all. It was remarkable to watch him in person.
He's incredibly well-rounded, and I think that is why he is in so many discussions. Is he? I mean, we're looking at the TV right now. Could Cooper Flagg be considered an all-time Duke player? There are so many discussions around him. He's so young. I think that's too what is so impressive about him is that how old is he? 18?
He is 18 or 19.
Or 19. And he's able to perform at such a high clip, and it never seems like he has a drop-off. I think when you look at Mark Sears, obviously last night he had one of those all-time games, and someone actually mentioned in the chat that nobody's mentioning the fact that Sears also had 8 assists too. You're going to get just another heavyweight matchup between these two teams. I do think there's a little bit of a size advantage that Duke has. It'll be challenging for Alabama, but I'm just excited to watch this game. I feel like even the one day that we have in between is too long. But Alabama also, I do want to mention this, guys. Alabama had a less day of rest, that rhymes, than BYU had last night. That's kind of crazy to consider when you think about the performance that Alabama put on tape.
They find these guys. Christian Laettner, you kind of remind me of him. Remember the Chris Farley SNL skit where he pretended to be Christian Laettner, making a buzzer beater?
Different body shapes there.
That's what was funny.
I'm going to be blasphemous here. I think Cooper Flagg's better than Laettner.
Oh, he is. I don't even think it's comparable. I mean, I think that Cooper Flagg might be one of their. I mean, I put him up there with Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley. I mean, I'm talking about like all time. And I know Laettner is too, but the guy is really, really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he can bring it up the floor at a fast rate, throws alley-oops just off the dribble. Just a really good guy. Mick, you do play-by-play. Write down this. How would you say this guy's name? Maybe you already know it. Knueppel.
I did. I'm going to tell you this, Jim. I was in the Floribama Boozy Bee competition, which was basically drunk spelling. And I was so happy to get 3 of them right. I'm the worst speller.
Yeah. The pronunciation on this guy, I think I got this right, is Knueppel.
It is.
Oh, is it Knueppel?
It is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for him.
We've all got him.
It's like when you write them on your scorebook, like for you guys that haven't done play-by-play before, like I'll write, sometimes I'll put a picture next to a name too if I just need to because in baseball you get a lot of like Spanish names.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So my first job, actually, like in the broadcast world, I was a color commentator for baseball.
Really?
So we could get in the booth together.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
After this.
So
Color
what you're saying, you write it out to the way you spell it, you way you say it,
yeah,
not the correct spelling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And baseball too, you have like these random pitchers that might come in for like a little Sunday doubleheader, and you're like, well, golly, I got to know everything about this kid, and we might not see him again for another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially in college.
Settle down now. I don't want you to go on another
Sorry.
baseball rant about it. Yeah, there you go. But Knipple had 20 last night, so they're a deep team, and we're looking forward to them battling Alabama. But even John Shire, their head coach, knows how special his players are. If you can give me cut number 7, Tyler, this will be our NASCAR fast reaction sound of the day. Before EG tells us about NASCAR coming to Talladega, here's cut 7. Duke head coach John Shire on what he saw from Cooper Flagg last night, and knowing that he's got to keep playing at that level if they're going to beat Alabama. Here's the Duke head coach.
That was one of the best tournament performances I've ever coached or, been a part of. And just how he was with you guys, that's how he is. Like, he just did what you're supposed to do, and he'll move on and get ready for Alabama. And I think that's the beauty of it with him. He doesn't get caught up in all that. And I thought he just had – what I've wanted from him is not to defer. I've just wanted him to fully be him. And I thought he was that he was in his element tonight. He was him, and he had just a great personality. He was loose, talking, competitive, the whole thing. And so, he impresses me all the time. But we need more of that on Saturday.
Yeah, he was him, is what the Duke head coach said. And there is something about just playing, a normal, tempered, paced game, and not having to press, falter under the pressure of it being the Sweet 16. And what was a game pressure, the Arizona put some game pressure on them for about 75% of that game. It was in contest. It was contested, and then late Arizona cut it to 5 again. So there were moments where you thought to yourself, this one could get interesting. So hats off to Duke there. That's our NASCAR fast reaction as Duke gets ready to play Alabama, EG.
Yeah, the biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway, is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you have got to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Link's 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Again, at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
And our viewing menu every day brought to you by our friends at Michelson. If your vision is starting to fail a little bit, you're tired of wearing these glasses like this. Sadly, I'm not a candidate for laser surgery, but I did go to Michelson to get checked out. They told me because of things with my eye and one little thing that I have a problem with my eyes, I'm not a candidate. So no out of pocket, no nothing for me. Thank you for coming by, Jim. But you need to go by and check out Michelson Laser Vision. See if you are a candidate for laser vision. They brought that technology to Birmingham. They were one of the pioneers of laser surgery. They've been doing it over 2 decades. Lance says it's the best decision he's ever made. You can make that decision right now. Get more details with our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. They bring you the viewing menu. Tyler, what are you watching tonight?
So tonight I will be seeing that IMAX anime re-release that I talked about earlier this week. And that's about it for tonight because I've already seen a lot of the upcoming movies. Yesterday, me and Tim were able to catch The Woman in the Yard, and I don't know if I'll be able to get Tim to go see another movie this year.
Was it that bad?
He hated it.
Yikes.
He really hated it. I didn't like it either, but he was very upset that he wasted
Was it
his time
scary?
on it. No, it was not scary. I don't know what they were going for with that movie, but it's not worth anyone's time or money.
It wasn't a love story, was it?
No, I really couldn't tell you what it was about. It was just like a mother and she's struggling to take care of her kids because her husband just passed away, and there's a lady in the yard who says some creepy stuff. And then after about an hour and a half, it just kind of ends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not worth anyone's time. So tonight, what I would recommend you do is stay home, tune on the AMC channel, because at 6 p.m. you've got the Lost Boys, and then right after that you've got Beetlejuice, so you can have a nice little spooky 80s night instead of seeing some of the trash horror coming out now.
Well, I mean, catch the Lost Boys, and then at 8:39 flip it to CBS and say Janai Broom 3 times, and maybe his scoring will be where they want it to be tonight as Auburn takes on Michigan. That's our viewing menu brought to you by Michelson. When we come back, Taylor Korn rejoins us from Atlanta to have some more thoughts on what we'll see tonight between Michigan and Auburn as they battle for a spot in the Elite Eight. Other SEC teams in action tonight, Kentucky and Tennessee against each other. Ole Miss trying to punch a ticket against Michigan State, where I would imagine if you're an Auburn fan, you would sort of hope Ole Miss could pull that upset because you've already beaten Ole Miss 3 times this year. One more time to go to the Final Four. We'll talk to Taylor Korn from Atlanta when we come back. The show being brought to you by our great friends at Odie's. Live music tonight at 2 locations, Edgewood, right there in Homewood. Also the location there right in the heart of Mountain Brook. Nothing like a neighborhood pub, man. It's what America was built on, a place to go gather, break bread, raise a glass, and enjoy family and friends. That's what you get at Odie's. You always have, you always will. It's what it's based on, friendship and family. And there's no place better to enjoy live music either on Friday and Saturday nights. And right there at Odie's, they'll have the games on for you too. Odie's, your local pub right there. We're back in a moment on the next round.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Start with the most exciting game on hardwood. Add the best ballers in the country, a season culminating tourney, the smell of popcorn in the air, and hundreds of your closest friends absolutely losing it along with you. That's Fandom U. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA Division I Women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8, March 28th through the 31st in Birmingham. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/WBB tickets. Class dismissed.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. What a great time of year to be online with our friends at MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag, where right now you get a major current sign-up bonus, a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip when using the code NEXTROUND. That's code NEXTROUND. We're talking about all the madness of March, the NBA playoff race, the start of Major League Baseball, and it's all for you right now online when using the code NEXTROUND. Go sign up today, MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and Bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Look who's back again. Taylor Korn from the ATL. I woke her up early this morning to talk basketball. You'd be up anyway. You can't sleep. It's game day, right?
It's game day. It's game day. There's so much excitement. The games last night, I stayed up to watch the end of the Arkansas Texas. What a heartbreaker for those guys.
Yeah.
What a heartbreaker. But yeah, I mean, this is such a fun time of the year.
It really is. I mean, I've been on the road for 11 days and some hours now, maybe 12 days without going home. Got a little TV time last night again, just like in the Final Four last year. Did you see me right behind Nate last night on TV?
I did. I saw you sending up prayers.
The whole game. I was doing this. That was my position the entire night was that right there. Just back and forth. I don't know why. That was where I was. I get nervous.
Your nervous
And don't
energy.
lie. Don't lie. You'll be nervous tonight too, won't you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hide that at all. I will be when I sit down, they take the court, the starting lineups are on the court and they're about to tip off. I will feel like I'm about to play a basketball game. Yes.
Yep. Yes. I know how you feel. You want that kind of excitement. You can get it with our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. You feel exactly the same way when a parlay is going to hit. Little T and I can attest to that. You get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip when using the code next round. That's the code next round right there with our friends at mybookie.ag. We are two satisfied customers. Mybookie.ag. All right, Taylor Korn. Michigan is the roadblock right now from Auburn in the Elite Eight, trying to be another SEC team to punch the ticket. If I asked you Michigan's weak link, what is Michigan's weak link tonight?
Well, like we talked about a little bit earlier, turning the ball over. I believe it was the Arkansas game. I could be wrong. They had a game where they had 22 turnovers. So it's that is a major red mark on their resume, I would say. Or I guess, if you're looking at Michigan as a team, that's where the flashing strobing red light will be. And I think that's going to be something that could turn into an advantage for Auburn if they take care of the ball when it's turned over. Michigan is ranked 324th in the country. I don't know what the total number.
Wait, they're 324th
in turnover percentage, yes. Offensively.
How are they still here? How are they still playing at this time of year?
I guess people aren't taking advantage. People aren't taking advantage of these extra possessions. I feel like I've said that 500 times, but I do think that it's going to be important because Michigan's defense is very good. Michigan has a really good defense, and those are the times where if you can get going to the other end of the court, you can take advantage of their defense probably not being set yet. Turnovers.
Yeah, and Auburn's one of the better defensive teams in the country, so they're great at turning you over. I watched them in Tuscaloosa on Alabama's home floor, just create turnover after turnover after turnover, and they've done that to teams that have come into Neville Arena, and this will be like Neville East or Neville Northeast, whatever you want to call it, tonight in Atlanta. So Michigan's got the turnovers. They've also got a former Auburn Tiger in Tre Donaldson, and I know you were in the locker room around the guys yesterday. And let's see, this isn't Aden Holloway, right? Because Aden went to the rival. He went to Alabama. And there was a lot said about him leaving Auburn and going to Alabama from both sides, right? Alabama, put that as a feather in the cap, and he's, had a great night last night. He's been a plus for Alabama. And then Auburn, has had a great season, didn't miss a beat without Aden Holloway. And Auburn hasn't missed a beat without Tre Donaldson. So I wonder, what was the conversation like about Tre Donaldson yesterday when you were talking to the Auburn players? And do you think from Tre Donaldson's side, what you've been hearing, is there a little revenge in his mind trying to get back at his old team? Talk to me about the Tre Donaldson factor.
Everyone in the Auburn locker room spoke of him in such a high regard. When Chad was asked about him, he had the biggest smile on his face. He just said, I love that guy. I'm so excited to be on the court with him. Unfortunately, he's going to be wearing a different uniform, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. And there was a Michigan reporter in the Auburn locker room talking to the players, asking about Tre, and he said, we've got to know Tre over the season, and he seems to have a little bit of fire in him. And Chad started laughing. He said, me and Tre have some similarities. He said, I just show it a little more. He said, but we both have that fire in us. So I think they're excited. I don't think that there are any hard feelings by any means. I'm sure there will be, a little extra motivation to make sure that he's the least impactful offensively. They're not going to want to see him hitting big shots. Chad said, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he plays well. No way he actually wants Tre to go out there and start banging shots. But I don't think that there are any hard feelings at all. I think they're excited to see him. But obviously they want to beat him. And then from Tre's side of it, Dusty May said yesterday when he was asked about it that, Tre has said nothing but great things. He's been nothing but complimentary of both Bruce and Steven, the whole Auburn staff, his teammates. So I really don't think that there are hard feelings. And I saw something that was very interesting. I can't remember who tweeted it out, or maybe I heard someone talking about it on the show, but it was basically Miles Kelly or Tre. Because I guess I cannot remember, and I wish it may have been Daryl Dapprich who was talking about it, but he said that's the way that I look at it is, who would you rather have? Because that was kind of the replacement in his eyes for Tre Donaldson when he entered the portal, was Miles. And I was like, I'm very happy with Miles. Again, nothing against Tre, but I think that it was one of those things. The situation was not the same as Aden because of I think where the bad blood, where the animosity began with that was obviously he went to the rival school, and then some of the things that he said afterwards. I don't think that in that sense that there is any bad blood, any lost sleep, but I think it's the same in the sense that both guys are probably a little bit better off. I think, Auburn is fine. Tahad has stepped up. Miles has stepped up. And then Aden, has had a great season at Alabama. Tre, we've seen him in the headlines a lot in terms of these last second shots that he's made for Michigan. So I think it may have just, I think it was mutually beneficial. And that's one of the things that Dusty May said. He said, sometimes it's just better for the player. Sometimes it's just better for these guys. It's change is good. Change isn't always a bad thing. You're not always leaving because, something horrible happened. It might just be what's better for you personally. And I think that that's what it was with him. So the players are excited to see him. And I think that there's still a great relationship, great bond, great friendship between all the guys in the Auburn locker room and Tre.
He averages 11 points and 4 assists a game, and he's a guy who is one of the big reasons why they are 13-4, as we told you back in the first hour, in one possession games. So they have won a lot of close games, and a lot of those have been because Tre Donaldson has had the ball in his hand. I am going to bring up last year. This is a warning. Going to bring up last year's NCAA tournament game that you saw in Spokane in just
Trigger
a second.
warning.
Yes, it is, because there is a guy that you may start reacting to when you see him on the court tonight. I want to remind everybody that we will be live after the game tonight When Auburn and Michigan concludes, Taylor will go into the Auburn locker room, record some sound with the Auburn players so that you guys will have that on our social media platform at Next Round Live, and then we'll jump on live and do the basketball show. So please pay attention to your alerts, set your alerts, and be ready to go and react with us after Auburn and Michigan tonight. All that coverage is brought to you by our friends at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious, those hand-patted burgers, fresh, never frozen. Put on a buttered bun with all the fixings that you want on there. That gives you the burger. I like mine with 2 patties. You can get 3 patties if you want to. It's all right there at great Culver's locations all over the world, including Tattersall just off 280 and the one just off I-459 Highway 150 near the Hoover Met. Those are our 2 closest locations, but I'll swing through a Culver's on the road for SEC games or on the road to the national championship a few years ago in Indianapolis in football. So when you're on the road or when you're at home, Culver's, welcome to Delicious. And also by our friends at Night Edie, who are getting ready to bring you the madness to Birmingham coming up. It's the NCAA tournament. They've been bringing you our coverage on the road these couple of weeks, and we appreciate them so much. You can get tickets all weekend long to the games, practice today, the games throughout the weekend. We're sending a couple of teams from Birmingham to the Final Four. That great South Carolina team of Dawn Staley's here. Get your tickets at ncaa.com/WBB tickets, ncaa.com/WBB tickets. They got all the information there as well to let you know game times, when you can go, where to park, and all that. Go check it all out. It's a women's tournament right here, the Madness in Birmingham, March 28th through the 31st, ncaa.com/WBB tickets. All right. You were one of the few people that had an Auburn degree and a front row seat in Spokane last year when Yale shocked the world. And Danny Wolf was there.
He was.
And Danny Wolf is here tonight. What did Danny Wolf do last year, and what do the players say about seeing Danny Wolf again? Now, not in Yale clothing, but in Michigan clothing.
So one thing that after the Creighton game, because half of the conversation after these games is how do you feel about the win, and then half of the conversation I'm speaking in terms of what's talked about in the locker room, is let's move forward. Let's start discussing your next opponent. If that opponent is already set, they knew that they were going to be playing Michigan, and Dylan Cardwell, who, he, Janai, Broom, Cheney, Johnson are the ones that are going to have the tall task. I believe they refer to themselves as the Twin Towers, Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. They have a tall task at hand. And one thing that Dylan said when he was asked about that is he brought Walker Kessler up because I cannot remember who was asking the question, but he said he was asked if he's played anyone that he thinks will help him be prepared for this moment. And he sat there for a second, and it took him a little bit to answer. But he said, I was on the same team as Walker Kessler, and he's probably the closest in comparison to these guys that I played, because how many guys like this are there that you're playing regularly in the SEC? Not many at all. And he used that reference point, which that was a couple years ago now, but that's what came to his mind was Walker Kessler, who's now doing great things in the NBA. The majority of the conversation was around Tre, more so than Danny Wolf in the locker room. But I have a quote that really made me laugh on Twitter last night. But Dusty May said, this is from Justin Hokanson. He posted on Twitter. He said, Dusty May said Tre Donaldson, quote, has a lot of insight into Auburn's system. May also said Danny Wolf has provided insight into what Yale did to try and combat things Auburn did last year in the NCAA tournament. There is such a vast difference in what I'm hearing. It seems like they're referring a lot to Tre's time playing for Auburn, and then Danny Wolf's 40 minutes playing against them last season. When Auburn players were asked about, does having played with Tre help you at all in terms of, knowing his tendencies, his strengths, his weaknesses and stuff. And Tahad was asked about it. he was asked if his teammates have given him any insight as to what he can do to try offensively. And all of the Auburn players that were asked about it, they said, we obviously know what he was here. We knew what his strengths were here. We knew what his weaknesses were. But they're using film as all of their reference. It doesn't seem as if Tahad, at least, has been having in-depth conversation about him as an Auburn player. And one thing and Chad was asked about it as well, and Chad said, you never know what a guy's going to do when he steps foot on the court. He said,
right.
yeah, we can know what he was here, but we have no idea what he's going to do on Friday night. But someone quoted Hoke's tweet that said that and said, so Danny Wolf is telling the Michigan team to harass Chad. And Chad was asked about it. Does this feel like a little bit of a revenge game because of what happened last year in terms of the Danny Wolf Yale connection? And I'm trying to find the quote, but he said, oh, geez, I literally just had it. I'm sorry. Oh, he said, well, technically I didn't play last year. So there's no, he played 2 minutes before that flagrant. So it was lighthearted, a lot of laughter, joking in terms of the Danny Wolf Yale connection. I think that's probably how they have to go about it, is just try and laugh through the pain.
It'd be funny in pregame if Chad Baker walked up to him and shook Danny's hand and said, "Hey, I'm Chad Baker Mazar. I didn't get a chance to play against you last year. I'm looking forward to being out here 40 minutes tonight."
Hey, it wouldn't surprise me if he did. I would not put it past him.
That would be good. All right, a couple more things here as we get Taylor ready for game day, and all you Auburn fans ready for game day over there in Atlanta, where Taylor is with our coverage. And don't forget, post game coming up tonight, and she'll have some more stuff leading into the game to get you ready fanfare wise. So be watching at Next Round Live all throughout the day for our coverage, not only here in Jersey but also there in the ATL, as today is Auburn's day after big Alabama win. Vlad Golden's another big part of that twin tower down low for them. 2 questions, and then I want to ask you about BP's legacy so far at Auburn. And my first question is, and it's going to be part of my 4 downs questions coming up in the next segment when I bring E.G. and Mick back in. But so I'll ask you here who you think, and I'm asking him about any of the 4 games tonight, but I want to know for you, who do you think scores the most points tonight for Auburn? And that's a tough question. And I know it's a spin of the wheel, but do you think this is a Janai game? Is it a Miles Kelly game? Is it a Pettiford game? Is it a Chad Baker Mazzara game to lead in scoring? Or anybody else I didn't mention? So this isn't, I'm going to ask you X Factor next, or somebody who's going to be the glue guy tonight. But who is the guy that actually bust open the stat sheet tonight for the Auburn Tigers in this matchup? Who, if you had to guess, who would you say?
So last time that they played in State Farm Arena, this past December, they played Ohio State. Janai I think he had a 22-point, 20-rebound game, something crazy. He had an extremely, extremely productive night.
And didn't he sit down with like 10 minutes to go in the game? Like, do I remember that correctly? Like he was 22 and 20, and it felt like he didn't play the last chunk of the game.
I'm pulling up the box score. Let me see.
Yeah, because I remember
he played 26 minutes.
That's my point. I remember leaving the floor Bama, and I was excited. I was like, dang, this is a big game. It's going to make my drive home easy because I'm going to have it on my little phone. I'm going to watch Ohio State and Auburn, loosely on the drive home. And I was so disappointed before not disappointed, but it was supposed to be a big game, right?
Right.
And because I think Ohio State was ranked. And I remember getting to the state, to basically to the interstate. And it was already a blowout. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I'm not even to Greenville on the way back. And Johnny Broom's sitting down with a towel already. He's done for the day, 22 and 20 in 26 minutes. I was like, that's easy work if you can get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to say Janai, but I also don't want to say Janai. The reason that I want to say Janai is because of his first 2 games. I feel like he's going to be a little bit extra motivated because he hasn't had the best first 2 games statistically in terms of scoring. I thought that he played well defensively in the Creighton game, but he hasn't been putting up massive numbers. So I want to say that, and he did the same thing to Hodgson, kind of took to social media and said, he said, we're going to celebrate the Sweet 16 for now, but I'm going to be better for this team throughout the stretch, which is sad that players feel like they have to take to the internet to do that. And you've seen so many players, which I'm kind of going way off the rails here, but it's heartbreaking the amount of players that you have seen over the NCAA tournament. When their season ends, they're in tears talking about that kind of stuff. And so it's sad that they feel as if they have to go to social media to say that. But so that gives me reason to feel like he could have a big night. But then you think about what his matchup is going to be with these 2 true 7-footers. Denver Jones is also another guy that he's so valuable defensively, and he hit a couple of big shots in the first weekend in a crucial shot. I believe it was during the Creighton game. Was it the and one?
Right. Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember what game that was during, but he's had good moments, but he hasn't had one of those, big scoring nights. I'm going to say Denver. I feel like he's primed to have a big 3-point shooting night.
Yep. And he's a glue guy too, because he's so good at the point, so good defensively, and can score the basketball. So he's big for Auburn tonight. We'll talk BP's legacy, maybe after the game as well, as Auburn and Michigan goes tonight. Taylor's got some work to do in Atlanta before the game tonight. 8:39 is his scheduled tip time on CBS, but of course it's after the Ole Miss Michigan State game, which goes first there in Atlanta. Taylor will be watching at Next Round Live for the coverage throughout the day, and then I'll see you live on the basketball show after the game tonight. So enjoy your day in the ATL, okay?
Thank you. You enjoy your day in Newark,
Jersey. Yeah, we'll one day I'll get the better draw on the locations. Don't rub it in, right?
Wait, I'm not rubbing it in. You seem like you've had a great time.
I have. The city has been really good. I haven't, I've experienced New York City from a different point of view, sort of through a local's point of view and not through a tourist point of view, and it's a much better experience. So I've really enjoyed it this time around. So Maggie and I will come back, and we will not do Times Square and rock, the music hall and all the tourist stuff, statue. We won't do that if we come back.
Yeah.
We're going to come back. We're going to stay in the village and just pretend we live in New York City for a couple of times.
Okay.
Looking forward to the game tonight, Auburn and Michigan. I'll be watching that, and I'll be with you on the post-game show after that. The show being brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. They bring you Lance's Lock every night. Lance will be back with us Monday in person, but he never leaves you online with his plays, his bets. You can get that at lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com, and it's brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. If it's not running right, flowing right, or draining right, Hemphill's been taking care of Birmingham's family since the 1950s. It's a long time. That means they're really good at what they do. You can trust the name Hemphill. Use that number on your screen right there, or just look him up. It's Hemphill Services. We're back in a moment on the next round as we continue with the madness of March from different locations in Atlanta, here in Jersey, and we go back to the Birmingham Racecourse studio, brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy after this timeout.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that quality legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster. Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Super Speedway, and it's ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the Talladega Super Speedway, you have to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every single turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Don't miss the action. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with MyBookie.ag. Sign up right now with code NEXTROUND and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with MyBookie.ag. Sign up right now, code NEXTROUND, and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, final hour of the show now as we get ready to focus in on Atlanta, Georgia, and up at Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis for the Sweet 16 games tonight that'll fill out the Elite Eight field. Jim Dunaway, Mick Gillespie from our Cover Crimson side of things, and Emily Grace McWhorter, who is the queen of everything up here.
Thank you, Dunaway.
She's on campus at Tuscaloosa and Auburn all the time, covering football and basketball, and she's been kind enough to not be on the road and be in studio with us for 3 days to sort of keep us centered. Tyler and Forrester and Tim, everybody behind the glass, making everything work and piecing all these parts together as we're spread out across the globe. LT and Ryan back with us on Monday. Final hour always brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling. He will get you ready for anything in life with a great lunch. Warm that belly up with some brined overnight cooked to order fried chicken, all the sides of Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and everything that'll make you feel like your bracket never busted at all. That's Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Over a decade in that location. Go say hi to Sterling. Speaking of brackets, before we jump back into things, and I'll do 4 downs next, and then we'll get back to the Auburn game tonight and Alabama, what they did last night. But for sure, I'm told you have a bracket challenge update as we continue to see who the biggest loser is. Remember that show, The Biggest Loser, where they'd lose a lot of weight?
Yeah.
I like that show.
Yeah.
Fun to watch.
I did like 1 year. After that, it got a little old.
No,
We
had Roger Schultz, who was one of the contestants on Elephant in the Room. Jay Coker and I did.
Wow.
That's right. Roger was Alabama's center. Was he the center?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah.
great. He did a great job on the show, and I've had people come up to me and say, "You guys got to get Roger Schultz back in." It was fun asking him about how that whole show went, and that Biggest Loser was a big deal for a while.
Oh yeah, for a while. That was the early 2000s. Is that right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the 90s, early 2000s. Speaking of Biggest Loser, Forrester, update us on the bracket challenge and what's going on. I have a feeling I'm not trending well.
Well, you're still right in the middle there, Jim. We got Brown leading the way with 64 points. You're in second with 54, and Lance right behind you with 52.
Did I text you 54? I thought I had 58, so it's 54 is what I have. Okay.
Did you text me?
And yeah, I
You
thought you
texted me
asked
54.
me what.
Oh.
Oh, I did. Dang
Yep.
it! I mean, I'm undercutting myself. So 54. I'm only 2 points ahead of LT. That's
Hang
just
on,
one
let me
game.
let me make sure you texted me the right thing.
Let's get a
Yeah.
check here. This is a tight
Yeah.
race.
Well, yeah, it's one game at this point because the value is more than 2 points. So that's just a 1-game lead. You know what it's going to come down to is Duke and Alabama, because I got Alabama going to the Final Four, and I know he does not.
Uh-oh.
So that'll be a big point switch right there. Just if I get that one right, I will gain a lot on a lot of people right there. So roll tide, or as I like to say, high tide. I don't want to lose this one. Of all the ones, I don't want to lose this one. Be back-to-back years for me. How's y'all's brackets doing? Have you been doing? Did y'all do brackets? Obviously, you did. Everybody in America.
I'm mine is still pretty good. Let me see. Let me pull it up. I'm in the 99th percentile still.
I mean, I got all my Final Four left. I have Florida, Auburn, Houston,
I think
Alabama.
I do too. Hold on.
Are you talking about the next round bracket?
No, this is yeah.
That's what I'm looking at right here. I'm going to do the next round bracket because I'm on the next round right now.
Yeah, it's smart. I like that.
That makes sense.
I like that reasoning.
Yeah. You always were the sharpest tool in the shed.
That's right.
So that's our bracket challenge. We hope you play it with us. If you didn't get in this year, you can do it there. But don't forget, the Shannara Showdown goes on every day. We have a game up to play today. You can win. If you win one day, you're in the drawing for the big cash prizes at the end. You don't have to play every day, just one time. You get a ball in the bucket, you win the drawing at the end, you win the cash, and the payout is real from our buddy Alexander Shannara. The Shannara Showdown is there. Let's do 4 downs. 4 downs today is brought to you by our friends at Bojangles. EG, tell us about, what is it, that chicken and bowberry waffle?
It is. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. Bojangles' signature Cajun chicken filet drizzled with a bowberry glaze and sandwiched between warm waffles. Yum. And it's only available for a limited time. So go out to your local Bojangles, pick up the new chicken and bowberry waffles. It is bow time.
Okay.
First down.
On first down, which player? Now, in the segment with Taylor, I specifically asked her about Auburn, but I'm opening it up to 8 different teams tonight. Which player tonight on any team, any game in the NCAA tournament scores the most points? Who has their Mark Sears, Caleb Love, Cooper Flagg moment tonight? EG, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can. I was actually going to agree with Taylor on this one. I was going to say Janai Broome. I think when you look at the matchup against Michigan, there are some potential offensive opportunities that Auburn can take advantage of with Michigan's size. Now, on the other side of that, I think Vlad Golden could also be someone that could make some waves. And I think that would be who would challenge Janai Broome to win that category. Vlad is coming off a 22-point game, and if he can mirror that, kind of like a Mark Sears moment, I think he can edge out Janai Broome for leading scorer.
Mick?
Yeah, it's my turn. Is Tennessee's basketball coach going to retire if they lose this game? Or is he going to retire if they win this game? I mean, there's a lot of rumors coming out of Knoxville. So
I think it's more likely Mick, right? He retires if he makes the Final Four,
like if he
because they've never been
right. Like if he gets there, and makes something happen there. I feel like it's going to be one of Tennessee's players. I'm going to say Ziegler. I think he's going to have a really big game. I like the way that the guy plays. And I feel like that team's going to play inspired, and they don't want to end up like Kentucky ended up against Alabama with the sweep, the 3-game sweep. So I look for Ziegler to kind of keep his coach in for at least one more game.
That's who I'm going with, but not Ziegler. I'm going with the Tennessee player. I'm going with Chaz Lanier.
Oh yeah, Chaz.
Who he sucked. He's been horrible in both of the losses to Kentucky. And Kentucky's hit 12 threes in each of those games. Kobe Brea's had a big game. But I just think Tennessee is totally different tonight against Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think if you want to go to mybookie.ag and make a little cash, that's my play tonight. Tennessee, and give whatever you have to give to have the balls tonight. I think Chaz Lanier finally has a big game against Kentucky. And that's who I think scores more points than anybody in college basketball tonight, winners or losers. Let's do second down.
Second down.
How many seeded upsets tonight? And 0 can be an answer if you think we stay chalky. So this is the team with the worst seed beating the favorite, the team with the better seed. I'll use an example. Let's say Purdue beat Houston. That would be a seeded upset. So how many seeded upsets happen tonight? 0 is a popular answer.
Yeah, I'm going 0. I do think Ole Miss and Michigan do have the best potentials for that, but when you look at these matchups and even the predictions that people are throwing out with the analytics, it looks like we are going to stay chalky, as Zenway said. I'm going to lock in 0. You guys can hold me to it, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think so too.
Yeah.
You know, it's what's exciting about the whole thing is like it's kind of like a roll of the dice. But I'm going 0.
I too am going to go 0.
Okay.
I think it'll be Michigan State, Tennessee, Auburn, and Houston. I don't know if they all cover, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But I think they all win the contest tonight. And I sort of feel like the biggest potential of an upset tonight, I truly believe, is Ole Miss beating Michigan State.
Yeah.
I really think. I mean, Ole Miss has 6 guys that are averaging double figures and are scoring double figures often. And Michigan State's defense is good. They're considered to be athletic, but Mick, they're Big Ten athletic. They're not SEC athletic.
Right, and Ole Miss is like they're giant killers. I mean, they've got some really big wins this year. I'm pulling for them too. I told you, I'd love to see it happen. I don't. It'd be fun if it did, but if you were like saying, "Hey, we're putting your money down," I don't know if I'd bet on them, but it'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay, we'll bring Tyler and Forrester in for these last 2. Let's do third down.
Third down.
Lady Gaga is 39 years old today.
She was older.
Who is the best singer turned actress? And you can use Lady Gaga if you want, but best female singer turned actress. EG, you first.
I'm going to go Cher. I love her in Burlesque. And I think that she had a great run, great singer. I do like Lady Gaga a lot, but I didn't want to go with Lady Gaga, so I'm going Cher.
Mick, I'll give you time to think.
Okay.
I'll go to the back room next. Tyler, best singer, female singer turned actress. Where would you go?
No idea.
Oh, our movie man.
I can't think of one that I really like. I'm not gonna say like Jennifer Lopez. She's awful in every movie. let's see, never seen
I like
any
J-Lo, I think.
of Dolly Parton's acting roles, and I'm not going Lady Gaga.
Jennifer Hudson, she's one. She did both.
Yeah.
Would Judy
Yeah, help me with-
Garland come into this category, Jim? I mean, is that?
Well, that's, I mean, if you're 110 years old, yes, but yes.
The answer is Bette Midler.
Yeah, Bette Midler's your answer.
Yeah,
she's very good.
She's a good actress.
Tyler, I can't remember her name. Maybe you can help me, EG.
Okay.
She was the mom on This Is Us on NBC. And she's a singer. She was a pop singer
Mandy
as
Moore.
well.
Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore.
Oh my
Mandy Moore
gosh.
is my answer.
She was in Princess Diaries. Loved her there.
Yeah, love me some Mandy Moore. Forrester, do you have one? I will accept Taylor Swift as an answer here because she's,
She's in what movie is
she's
she in?
Well, she was in Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Yeah. And some people think she acts like a singer.
I'll go Whitney. I mean, I saw The Bodyguard. She was in that.
Oh,
Why
is
not?
that something Debbie made you go see with her?
Probably.
Probably. All right, let's do fourth down.
All right, Tim's got an answer.
I got one for you. Dunaway. Barbara Streisand and
Milton.
Meet the Fockers.
Okay.
There
Meet
you
the
go.
Fockers come up on this show a lot.
There you go.
I'm so sorry, Tim. I've mentioned your name all week long, but I've never heard your voice, so I wasn't expecting to get one from you there.
Out of nowhere.
Fourth down. Barbara Streisand's a good answer. I'm getting some Queen Latifah as well.
Yeah, I like that. These are all great. There's a lot of good answers. Madonna.
Yeah.
I don't know, what was
Madonna. Madonna's a great answer.
That was
as far
Josh.
as quality of singer. Because what did she do? Something Seeking Julie Susan. What was that movie she was in? That she was sort of the star.
I don't know, but let's find out.
Desperately Seeking Susan. She was in
Okay.
that. I think that was it. Maybe I got the female name wrong. The only other celebrity birthday today was Reba McEntire. She turns 70 today, Reba McEntire. Reba could be your answer, but favorite female country music singer. Favorite female country music singer. I will not accept Taylor Swift here because she's a
smart.
pop singer.
Good.
E.G., you're first.
I'm going to go Megan Maroney. She is newer on the scene, but I love her outfits. I love her music. And she has a great song, Tim, that you introduced me to. Let's get Tim on the mic.
Yep.
What's the song name?
It's called, isn't it called Georgia Girl?
It is.
Yeah. So that
Fits
works
very
out
perfectly.
for EG.
Yeah.
But Jody Messina is the correct answer.
Jody Messina.
Come on.
That's a good one.
Bring on the rain.
That's a good. I won't even ask Tyler because he's going to say, "I don't know one."
I mean, I know,
Ty-
I know plenty of them. I just don't like country music at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me get this right today, Tyler. Viewing menu, don't really have anything to watch tonight because I already told you I'm going to see an anime
I'm
movie.
slacking today.
Yeah. I asked you about singer turned actress. I don't really have one. Can't think of one. And now you don't like country music. I'm the last question.
I've
That's
never
okay.
liked country music. That's not new.
Yeah, that's not new.
Boy.
It's okay, Tyler. Lance will be back on Monday. you and him can team up on me. Forrester, you got one?
I'm also not big in this genre, but I'll go Lainey Wilson just because she's married to Duck Hodges, and I like Duck Hodges.
Y'all,
Yeah.
that one song, The Heart Like a Truck, it like viscerally makes me angry. I think she is fabulous, but when that song comes on, I'm like, no, please. It's just, I can't. Heart Like a Truck, kind of weird.
Yeah.
I can't get into it.
Listen to the words. I'm going to go, I sort of like Kelsey Ballerini's vibe on the voice.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go
agreed.
Ballerini
That's
right
a
now.
great one.
And that's our
Well, you
that's
didn't
our
let me
four
go.
downs.
Yeah, Mick has to
I have-
go.
I
Mick
gotta
has to
go.
go.
Dolly
I'm
Parton.
so sorry. I thought you threw
Dolly
out.
Parton. I love Dolly Parton.
We love Dolly.
I love Dolly, and I would date Dolly.
You would date Dolly,
I
Mick?
think I know she's like almost 80, but she looks amazing.
She does.
still.
I mean, I'm assuming you saw her perform Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Oh, I'm a super Dolly Parton fan.
It's great.
So Dolly for Center Square Dolly for
That's
from
an
Nick there.
easy one.
That's our 4 downs, brought to you by our friends at Bojangles. Don't forget the chicken and bowberry waffle right now at your local Bojangles. The show also being brought to you by the great folks at Alexander Shannara. They are a big part of what we do up here, and we're always glad to remind you that Alexander Shannara is absolutely local. Isn't that right, E.G.?
Yes, they are. Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys, a national firm with Southern roots, headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama. In 24 years, the firm has grown to over 150 lawyers, supported by over 500 dedicated team members. Their elite trial lawyers have recovered over $2 billion by maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. You pay absolutely nothing unless they win your case.
Okay. We'll get to the Alabama Duke game in just a second in this segment.
Okay.
Because this will be, we'll talk about it here, and at the end of the show, it'll be our last chance to talk about Alabama and Duke before we're done for the weekend here on this platform for this show. But remember, we got continuing coverage on our video platforms at Next Round Live, all over social media all weekend long, including live shows after every games and locker rooms, interviews, just a ton of stuff going on over there. But if you'll give me, Tyler, cut number 12 and 13, Chad Baker-Mazara and Tre Donaldson. Before we hear from these guys, I want to ask you, and I'll start with you, E.G.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tre Donaldson is, and I know I talked to Taylor about this, but do you think playing an old teammate can be a positive or a negative? Can it be a factor in tonight's contest?
Yeah, I absolutely think that it can be a factor. I do think that Tre Donaldson has been very loving with his approach towards Auburn and his time there, especially with Coach Pearl. And I think there are some upsides because you kind of know what you're getting with him as a player, but obviously a lot of development has happened for him since his time at Auburn. And I think, both sides probably look forward to it, but it might, I'm just thinking of me, if I were in their shoes, having to kind of remove that friendship element and that, edge of, wait a second, I used to play with this guy in the same uniform. That might be a little difficult at times, but again, these guys are competitors, and I don't think that it's really a positive or a negative. There's some upsides, there are some downsides against playing a former teammate like Tre Donaldson.
Mick?
Yeah, I think that this happens a lot in sports these days.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah,
We're seeing it way more often.
Yeah, and now with the transfer portal, I mean, these guys are all over the place. And there was a time when you would think, I can't, look, one of Bama's players was an Auburn basketball player last year, but it's a lot less, of a big deal than it was 5 years ago. I mean, and I think too, just as an athlete myself growing up, I mean, when you're on the same field as somebody that you really like, you want to play better.
Yeah,
you want to be for bragging rights and respect. You play your best game. So, I think it's just kind of the way this world works now.
Yeah. See, I think there's a little difference between the way Aden Holloway left Auburn and the way Tre Donaldson left Auburn, and probably a little bit more animosity between the roster and the staff with Holloway at Alabama than it is with Tre Donaldson up at Michigan. Let's hear from Chad Baker-Mazara, cut 12 first. This is our Alabama Power staying connected into the game. Post-game sound here. This is our pregame sound here. Chad Baker-Mazara on it, facing his former teammate, Tre Donaldson.
That's my brother. I'm really excited to see him being able to share the court with him once again. Sadly, he's wearing a different uniform, but at the same time, want him to do his best and, give us the best battles. Tre and I are a little alike, but we have that really fire in each other. I just display it more. But, that's a brother to me, have plenty of memories in and off the court. Obviously want him to do good. But, I said just really excited to be able to be with him once again.
Yeah. Now let's hear for Tre, and I'll point out, as I did with Taylor in a segment earlier, that this Michigan team is 13-4. They played 17 games that have been decided by 4 points or less, and they won 13 of them. Some of that is because of Tre Donaldson. Here is cut number 13, I believe, Tre Donaldson on facing his former team and former coaching staff at Auburn.
Tre, matching up against your old team, has this been a game that's been circled on your calendar since the transfer? I wouldn't say it's circled. I mean, it wasn't, the likelihood of this happening wasn't really like high. So I mean, just the opportunity is a blessing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Is there something, because you have a very personal connection with them, just some intel, some inside knowledge that you can share with the coaches as far as their player tendencies, anything that goes beyond maybe just a scouting report or statistics?
I mean, 100%. I mean, I was there for 2 years, so I know how it operates. I know how everything runs. And when you're around people for so long, you catch on to what they do for sure. So I mean, I definitely have tried to help as much as I can with that aspect, just to give us our best chance to win.
So Mick, do you think he really has any leans that can help you? I mean, it seems like signals change, plays change, terminology may not change, but if you're going up against a guy who would know your terminology, you'd want to change some things. I'm wondering, do you think he really knows anything that can actually help him?
I don't know. I like the Bob Marley haircut, just kind of right out of the chute. But yeah, I mean, look, I think so. I mean, you play against these guys in practice all the time, and so you kind of know what someone's game is. But I think at the end of the day, at this point of the season, you've played so many games. Yeah. There's so much film that you should have a pretty good indicator just by watching the film what another team brings to the table. Auburn's just a better roster, and they're going to win this game probably pretty easy. So I mean, he could go in there and tell them every play that Auburn's going to run, and I just don't think that they'd be able to really stop them.
I think we may have lost my video connection, guys. I'm not sure. Can you still hear
back.
me?
Yeah, you're back.
Jim.
You're good.
Oh, you can see me now too?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Oh,
wait, is that a curtain
go.
behind? That's curtains behind you. I thought that was wood paneling for a little bit.
No, it's curtains. It's like the Tonight Show back in the 1970s.
It is, man.
The guests would walk out and I'm in the warehouse district, not the not the most picturesque hotel room I've ever been into, but so far it's been safe. I don't want to jinx myself. It's been okay. I've survived and advanced, much like the teams. Let's talk about Alabama now as they get ready to play Duke. And again, Duke's a four-letter word to me for many reasons. One of them, my wife, and for some reason now my daughter love Duke basketball, and now it's almost like Tre going up against Auburn. It's my girls and my family, their team, against my team in Alabama. And I was face to face with the Duke mascot last night. And I snapped a picture and sent it to in our family text. And they're like, "Oh man, you're at the Duke game too." And my family does not follow sports. And I was like, "Yeah, Alabama plays Duke on Saturday now." And they were like, "Are you kidding me?" And my daughter instantly is like, "I'm cheering for Duke." And I was like, Wait, what are you doing? And of course, Maggie is a Duke student. So it's a house divided in basketball all of a sudden.
That's pretty fun, Dunaway.
Blowing my mind up here. So Alabama's got a challenge. Duke may be the best team. They're one of the betting favorites to win this whole thing. And Alabama's got to get through them coming up on Saturday, the late game here in Jersey. Cut number 5. And then, Mick, I want you to break down the game for me, how you think it's going to go out.
All right.
But here's Mark Sears at cut number 5. This is what EG was talking about earlier. EG mentioned she thinks Alabama may be peaking at the right time. I had a chance to talk to Mark after the game, and he sort of feels the same way.
To have your best game in the Sweet 16 of this tournament so far, do you feel like you guys are peaking at the right time?
Definitely. The game of basketball is always about momentum. And, when you give a good team momentum, you give them confidence and you give them a different swagger. And, especially when we're playing for each other, I feel like that's a good way to go into the next game.
So, Mick, break it down for us. Peaking at the right time, does Bama, sort of the same question I asked in the first segment, do they have a chance?
It always reminds me of talking with our friend Mike Johnson, who's also a part of Cover Crimson champion at Alabama and played on the 08 football team. And I remember him saying that in 08, they just were like, hey, we'd love to get to the SEC title game, and then they got there and lost, right? He said the next year, 09, they said, let's win the national championship. And I feel like that was kind of Alabama basketball last year. Like, nobody was talking about them winning a championship and making it to the Final Four was, hey, you know what, it was great, right? And then this year, all the talk has been, we want to win the national championship. I mean, I don't even know how many times Nate Oates has said that, but that's what their standard has been. That was what their goal was. And so you go through the regular season, it's daunting, the tournament and the conference and all that stuff. Now is what they have set their goals out to be. And they looked like a team last night that is ready to make a real run at a national championship. So when you get a chance to play Duke in an Elite Eight game, hey, there you go. I think that's what you wait for. Mm-hmm. That's what you practice for. That's what you talk about all the time. If Alabama wins this game, it could arguably be the biggest win in program history. And I know they got to the Final Four last year, but it'd be another Final Four, but it would be getting through Duke to get there as a number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. I think they can do it, but they're going to have to rebound and not turn the ball over.
DG?
Yeah, I think one thing I'm going to be paying attention to is obviously we saw the threes falling last night, but how does that hold up against Duke's perimeter defense? And then this is a tournament of guards, and Alabama has a lot of depth there, but Duke has a lot of versatility. So I think there's some evenly matched spots, but I'm going to agree with you, Mick, that this could be one of the biggest games in, Alabama's history. If they are to pull out this win, I think it's just another, medal around Coach Oates' neck, and I think Alabama and Alabama fans are going to be biting at the bit to get him in Tuscaloosa for as long as they possibly can. We're not really discussing that about what, Nate Oates, his future looks like at Alabama. He has taken this team and this program and really brought it to new heights, and it's been really, really fun to watch. And I think this game on Saturday is going to be a culmination of a lot of that hard work that him and his staff has put into this program.
I have no problem labeling this the biggest win in program history if they win this game, to go to their back-to-back Final Four, and as you said, go through a number 1 seed in the blue blood like Duke. That's our Alabama Power look into the game, powered by the great folks here at the Southern Company and Alabama Power. EG?
Absolutely. I still need to pay my power bill. Oopsies. So I know. If your power bill is higher than expected, changes in your energy use, especially with Alabama's crazy weather, could be the reason why. Check out Alabama Power's free My Power Usage tool. It helps you track how much energy you're actually using and when. It's a great way to spot patterns and avoid surprises. Plus, Alabama Power offers easy tips to help you save. Visit alabamapower.com/mypowerusage to learn how to manage your usage and keep costs in check.
Regardless of a win or not against Duke, maybe Daniel A. Moore should paint, and again, I'm going to label it March Sears. That should be the title of the painting, and the T-shirts and everything. March, the month, and Sears, because he's the winningest NCAA tournament player in Alabama history. He got another one last night, setting the tournament record. And Daniel A. Moore, go ahead and paint something for Mark Sears. March Sears. You can get the latest from Daniel A. Moore right there from our friends at New Life Art, DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. That's the legend, Nick Saban, 6 national championships, his time in Tuscaloosa. You can get that painting and all the other great works that they have at New Life Art, including the works of Daniel A. Moore, some great Alabama moments over the years, a few Auburn moments over the years, and maybe a March Sears painting coming soon. It's all right there with our friend Daniel A. Moore. See it online at DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. When we come back, it's time for trash. We'll get to that and some final thoughts before we wrap it up from the Jersey Coast up here and also from down in Birmingham. This is The Next Round, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
We're going to get right to trash here quickly and then have some final thoughts on the games tonight in Atlanta, where Taylor Corn is for Auburn and Michigan. And, of course, the game I'm at here in Jersey, by the way, later today. In fact, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to jump in a Uber and take another $60 Uber ride down to the arena. Ooh. And that's one thing that's been weird about this. You know, you get assigned NCAA tournament hotels. Highest seed gets the best hotels. They're the number one choice, and then the second highest seed gets the next choice. And Alabama's choice, the second best hotel at this venue, is in Teaneck, New Jersey. Teaneck, New Jersey, and it's about 25 to 30 minute drive down the I don't know if that's the Jersey Turnpike or not, but the road that goes right next to the Hudson. You can see the whole skyline on the entire ride down, but it takes you past the Meadowlands where the Giants and the Jets play, and you keep driving into Newark and finally get down to Newark. So where the Devils play at Prudential Center, the Rock there. So it's we're a ways away. When Brown and I were booking, we chose to stay close to the team hotel, and it's a haul to get down there, but I'll be down at the arena again for practice coming up this afternoon. Practices are closed because this is a preparation day. It'll be 2 hours on the floor, but we'll have locker room access for about an hour to talk to players, and we'll be sending that out prior to the games starting tonight, and then some more tomorrow morning, all at Next Round Live. But right now, if you will, Lionel, if you'll hit the big button, we'll do trash. other than 12 months of me with my shirt off or whatever I'm dressed up as, in a heartbeat, I'll eat those balls all day long.
I've been to a
wow.
Yeah.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
And of course, it's always an interesting time when it comes to buying a home in America. Mortgage Right can help you dial it in perfectly. They're the experts, and they've been with us since we started the radio back in the day. They've grown to be nationwide, but they're based right here in Birmingham, Alabama, and they're here to help you wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening to us. There's a Mortgage Right near you. MortgageRight.com, MortgageRight.com. They are the experts, EG.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first story here. Fireball offers a lifetime supply of whiskey to seniors 90 and older.
Oh, that's sweet.
It is. It's very kind. Fireball whiskey is turning up the heat for some of its most unexpected yet dedicated fans, senior citizens. Did you guys know this was pretty popular amongst our mature population?
I didn't, Mick, but I'll tell you what I do. We, me and my golfing group, we keep a big pouch of Fireball in our golf bags, and it's our birdie juice. When we make birdies, everybody takes a shot of Fireball. So luckily we're not good golfers and we're better drinkers, but still it works out that way. I can understand, man, passing time and enjoying life. Little Fireball action could,
why not?
And on a cold night warms you up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
So the Fireball Global Brand Director, Danny, explained the idea behind the campaign. We've seen it firsthand. Senior citizens love Fireball. They've been around since Prohibition ended. They know how to have a good time, and we're here to celebrate that. Fittingly, the promotion will run through March 31st, the 90th day of the year. Eligible seniors or their enthusiastic grandkids, I love that part, can submit entries by visiting lifetimesupplyofireball.com for a chance to receive a supply of Fireball for life. So that tells me that not everyone will get the Fireball for life because it says a chance to receive. That's kind of sad. So
yeah, I was hoping everybody in the world or in America over 90 was going to get it.
I agree.
It's going to be a winner. Yeah.
So they do have to answer a question to apply, and that is, how do you keep the mischief alive at 90? For those who prefer the old school approach, Fireball is also accepting mail-in entries sent directly to Team Fireball. That's awesome.
Mail-in, yes, I like that.
This is a caveat, though. There is one rule to this. The whiskey stays with the winner. No passing it down in the will, and no sneaky whiskey inheritance loopholes, and definitely no ghostly reappearances to claim a refill. That's great.
That's very smart on Fireball's end. I would say this, it could start a trend. It would help nursing homes everywhere. You could have the Fireball winner, and then somebody could have the Netflix winner, and you could have Fireball and Netflix and chill right there in the nursing home. Which from what I understand, is very popular in nursing homes.
Someone in the chat just said, when Jace, when Brown and EG read trash, it makes me think of a nightly news read. Oopsies.
Yeah.
Florida man 40 dressed as Ronald McDonald arrested for trespass. It's always the Florida man.
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah.
what do you have to say about this?
No, I live near Florida, down in Fairhope, and I try not to go over there too much because you might run into the jorts and Crocs, although my kid does wear Crocs every day. No, look, Florida is a crazy place.
It is. So apparently, Mr. Ronald McDonald said, "You look like a clown," the cop told Christopher Marlowe, 40, after stuffing him to a squad car. "I am a clown, stupid," replied Marlowe, who was wearing a Ronald McDonald costume and a red nose at the time. So police confronted Marlowe Monday afternoon at a Palm Bay, Florida shopping center from which he had been previously trespassed. "Don't go anywhere, Chris," a cop announced. "You're not free to leave." So they know this man. This is a repeat offender. I feel like when
Chris, they called him by his name.
Exactly.
Chris.
When the police officers are giving you a first name basis, you've seen a thing or two. So as seen on body-worn police footage, Marlowe struggled with officers before he was knocked to the ground and handcuffed. One cop can be seen removing an orange replica gun from a pocket of Marlowe's yellow pants. Completing the clownish look, Marlowe wore a red and white striped shirt and a yellow vest, which did have a skull logo in place of the McDonald's arches. He was not wearing oversized red shoes, and a search of Marlowe's backpack turned up multiple other clown outfits and a pack of 10 red noses. Weird. Weird.
I didn't know Ronald McDonald, even though it was fake. I didn't know he packed a fake gun.
I didn't either. No, and so I have a few questions. Tyler, do you know was he just on property? Was he previously not supposed to be there, or why were the cops called? Do we know?
Can't hear you. There you go.
There we go. I'm falling apart today. Don't know what the exact details were.
Okay.
He was just called. It was just called because of trespassing.
Chris being Chris, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do you like clowns? Are you guys clown fans? Because some people hate
I am
clowns.
not. They can be scary, Mick. They can be scary.
They can be. All right. Do we have any Office fans? I love The Office.
I like it. I'm a fan.
Oh, I love The Office.
So a new Chili's near Scranton will be a throwback to The Office, awesome, blossom, and all. It has been nearly 2 decades since the workplace mockumentary The Office first set an episode inside a Chili's, where Michael Scott handed out Dundie Awards to his ever-tolerant employees, including trophies for the whitest sneakers and for stinking up the bathroom. Over 9 seasons, The Office regularly name-dropped real places and products associated with Scranton, where the Emmy-winning show was set. So at last, the chain is filling a hole in The Office lore by opening a Chili's in Dixon City, about 6 miles north of Scranton. The restaurant will be decorated as it would have been in the mid-2000s with old signs and chalkboard art. It will also feature direct nods to the show's fictitious paper company, Dunder Mifflin. That is pretty awesome. Are you guys aware of the lore with Chili's in The Office?
They went to Chili's to hang out.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah, I enjoyed the Dundies. Those were some of my favorite episodes, and I felt like that's sort of where Pam and her man, what's his name?
Jim.
Pam and Jim.
Yeah.
I
Do you think that
should
Jim
remember
would
that
have
one.
flair? Do you think if Jim worked at Chili's, he'd have a lot of flair?
Oh, he would have a lot of flair.
I could see that with him.
Yeah. But that's sort of where Pam and Jim, I thought, took it to the next level on the show. So I'm all about the Dundies. That's good. I mean, I would embrace it. If you got something like that, you got to embrace it, I think.
Do you guys hit up Chili's on the regular? I'm not really much of a Chili's fan, truthfully.
No. I mean, I did at one point in my life, probably the 90s.
Yeah.
I think it was a go-to near Brookwood Mall, and it was easy, quick pick up and go at between local news between the 6 and the 10. So not too bad.
I know somebody out there watching remembers my days of bartending at Boo Radley's. I was the late night bar before we stayed open all the time, and Tuscaloosa won't let you do that anymore. But the Chili's crew used to come in on a daily basis, like after Chili's.
Were they a rowdy crowd?
Oh, they were. I can't even get into too much of, but the Tuscaloosa Chili's crowd.
Okay.
Yeah. Did they try to share their flair with you, so to speak?
They had a lot of flair over there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very fun group.
All right, moving on. We do have another Florida man. Florida man, 21, drove dad's car into the ocean. This is a fear of mine, is a car going off a bridge into water. Like, I have dreams about this. A 21-year-old Floridian who is angry at his father drove the older man's vehicle into the ocean earlier today, police report says. Investigators say that Joshua had borrowed his father's car but failed to return the vehicle to his parents' Jacksonville Beach residence. Oh no. Around 2 a.m., cops received a report of an auto in the ocean, according to an arrest report. Upon arriving at the beach, officers spotted a gray Subaru floating in the water. Elsewhere,
oh, no.
I know. Elsewhere in the report, the car is correctly identified as a 2011 Volvo XC70. So I don't know if it was a Subaru or they thought it was a Subaru. Turns out it was a Volvo. So police soon located Joshua since his father had been pinging the location of his son's phone. So, yeah, that is quite the response when you're mad at your dad, to drive his car into the ocean.
Now, I hope that never happens to me. I mean, I have a 12-year-old now, but
yeah,
it would not be good.
Interesting.
Have you guys seen that show that they have on there where they go out and find these cars that have been underwater where missing people are in there? I mean, it is so crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
No, it's insane. And I literally have dreams that
Yeah.
that's like my stress dream. I'm driving and I go off.
Some of the biggest mysteries, but they have sonar now, and they go and they pull these old cars out and stuff, and they, it's really something. And then when you're riding on Canal Street down in Orange Beach, you look and you think, man, somebody could have easily
just woo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the father
or intentionally been put in there. We had. I don't know if you guys in Georgia or down in South Alabama had these, but we, Alabaster is a big. It's on a bed of limestone, so we have a lot of little mines, I guess, that are farming limestone. So we have sinkholes and what do they call it? Quarries there in Pelham, and one of them was Blue Water Park. When I was a kid, we'd go swimming there, and according to the legend, was it's used to train divers and stuff, and nobody's ever found the bottom of it, that it's that deep.
Wow.
It's just a bottomless quarry. Deep into the center of the earth of just beautiful blue water, and it was always perfect temperature in the heat of summer, and it was a place we'd go swim. I couldn't swim, so I was always totally scared of it, but it was always, the urban legend was that there are people that were offed and then body and cars dumped into the quarry there and sunk to the bottom.
Ooh.
Wherever the bottom is in that thing, and never heard from again.
That sounds like Walker County to me. You said Limestone County?
No, it's limestone. It's in Shelby County.
Oh, Shelby. Okay.
We're on a bed of limestone, so there are quarries everywhere, and I guess they're called mines, where you're harvesting the limestone and making stuff out of it. Yeah.
Well, the dad did decide to press charges, and he was arrested on a felony criminal mischief count. So they did take care of it, and that is trash for today.
How do you end up getting your kid arrested?
I don't know. I feel like it's probably standard procedure. I've never been arrested. I guess I
Ever
feel like
for
I
nothing.
I have never ever been arrested by my parents or by anyone.
Yeah, that's good.
I like the way you went proper. Never have I ever game rules there. Never have I ever been arrested.
What about you, Jim?
Yes, I have been arrested. It's
spent some time.
I've told the story before. It was Thompson lost a baseball game, and we went and crashed some mailboxes, and
oh no,
oh boy,
yeah, it's federal offense.
Were you the Batman or were you the driver?
Well, we took turns. We took turns. It was not my vehicle, but I think I was hitting third in the order that night. There's 5 of us, aluminum bat on the mailbox. The worst part of it was not getting arrested, because they did take us to the police station in Alabaster, and then they did call our parents, who had to come pick us up, and we went home. But when we went in front of the judge, part of our penalty was we had to pay for and then physically reinstall the mailboxes ourselves while being supervised by the man of the house, the dads whose mailboxes we had crushed. And that, my friend, was the worst part, and because those dads were pissed off.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever done manual labor for people. They don't think you're doing it right the entire time. The entire time.
No.
Yeah, it was a good punishment. Better, worse than jail. I'd have taken 2 nights in the hole instead of having to do that again. That's trash. Brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Mortgage Right. MortgageRight.com. They'll take care of all your home needs and everything. Okay, final few minutes of the show. Let's talk about the game we're going to get first tonight, and that is Auburn and Michigan. If I said concern level 1 to 10, 10 being ultimately concerned, 1 being no concern at all, where do you guys feel like the Auburn fan base is as we sit here approaching 12 noon Central Time, 1 o'clock over in Atlanta where the game will be played? Concern level, you go first, Mick. Where do you think Auburn fans are on this one?
I mean, they're probably concerned because, I mean, you're always concerned about your favorite team, but I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. This team, they cruised through the SEC until they wrapped it up, and then after that, I thought that, hey, that's what happens a lot of times, and then they've been remotivated through the tournament. They're going to be tough to beat. I just think they're going to be simply better than Michigan. And I'll tell you what, for them, where I would be confident is when Broome was out, they still really played well. I think I got a chance to win it all this year, and this will be one of those games. I think it'll look like Alabama last night. I think they'll roll.
Yeah, EG, where's the concern level, and how do you think it plays out?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Auburn fans were a lot more concerned for these first 2 rounds, and now they're to this point. I feel like a lot of the mindset for them was to get to Atlanta, get basically to our own backyard, get to that point, and they have done that. And they looked like Auburn of old in their last game, and I think you need to see more of that. You need to see that effort exercise, and that was the narrative that, okay, where's the effort from this team? They got bumped almost a calendar year ago, or a full calendar year ago in the first round. That has the motivation. And so I do think that Auburn fans are in a good spot now compared to maybe where they were a week ago. And I think that Michigan does have a chance to cause some disruption, but when you look at these matchups and you look at where Janai Broome is at right now, I think that Auburn will take this game handedly and will cruise past them, kind of like what you said, Mick.
Yeah, see, I think Alabama has a roadblock in front of them and Duke. I think Auburn is the roadblock, right, in their region. I think Michigan looks at Auburn, and then probably Michigan State looks at Auburn and saying, we got to get through Auburn. And Auburn has been that team all year long. That's why they're the number 1 overall seed. So I would expect, like you said, Mick, it's your team. When it's your team, there's a stress level. I was talking to Taylor earlier, and she absolutely said she would be nervous by the time it gets to player introductions tonight. But I don't feel like this will be a contest either. And truthfully, I don't think it will be on Sunday either when they play Michigan State. I think Auburn is that good. They've come too far to let it slip out at this point of the season, especially against a team like Michigan, who I don't think is buttoned up all over the place. They turn the ball over way too much, Michigan does, to have a chance at beating Auburn. Sunday will be a tougher task if it's Michigan State, but Michigan don't have the nuts and bolts to beat this Auburn team. Now Duke and Alabama, final thought about them. They'll play late night tomorrow night here in Jersey. I'll start with you on this one, EG. Confidence level, Alabama fans, 1 to 10. Ooh. Or nervous level, with 10 being the most nervous.
I mean, I would say it's pretty high. I think you kind of summed it up perfectly, that this is the roadblock that Alabama faces. There's a lot of expectations on this game. I think that we've talked about it in the last hour or so, that this is a game that could go down as the biggest game for Alabama, and you want your team to perform well. Duke is a heavy matchup, but this is a tournament of guards. Like I said before, Duke has some versatile guards, whereas Alabama has a lot of depth there. So I think there's some nerves to be had, but it's for good reason.
Yeah, Mick, this is, you mentioned it, this when you're going to be in this neighborhood playing these type games, these are the type of programs you got to play.
Yep. Yeah, it's a colossal matchup, biggest game ever if Alabama wins it, and I'd love to see it.
Have y'all seen a point spread yet?
I'm not.
Game? I know it's out. ESPN.com if you want to grab it real quick, or mybookie.ag. Just give me a point spread as we wind it up here. I will tell you that Alabama will give it a shot against Duke. Cooper Flagg is the real deal, but I mean, you want to play it, right? This is the game you want to play, and Alabama's played a tough schedule under Nate Oates every year. So there's going to be nothing in this game that is that's going to be out of the extraordinary. Y'all have a point spread?
6.5. Duke's a 6.5 point favorite.
Yeah, my bookie's got it at -7.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there you go. That doesn't add up to an Alabama win.
I love it. I love it, Jim. I think this is exactly what Alabama needed.
Okay, you like where they are.
I'm going with the Coker technique. He's got me trained on how to read these spreads.
I hear you. Listen, Mick, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We appreciate you so much.
Hey, thank you, man. Guys.
Yeah,
good to see you guys.
Yeah, Cover Crimson, covercrimson.com to catch Mick and Clint Lamb and Jake Coker and all the folks over there.
Right now, by the way.
Work.
That's where I'm going next, Jim. Right now.
Okay. So we're about to be covercrimson.com right over there. Live on covercrimson.com as Mick continues to add everything to my wrap-up speech here at the end, almost like it's a baseball conversation. And EG, thank you all week long. You've been a rock. Thank you. And Tyler and Forrester and Melton and Taylor Korn, who can't hear me right now. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for being with us. We're all back together whole on Monday. Appreciate you guys understanding that LT and Brownie needed a little time with their family on this spring break, that their kids are getting older. We appreciate your patience so much, and we love you all so much. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.